What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bitch with Comrade Misty. I am Comrade Misty. I gotta find a better intro. It's so lame.
But we
Like,
love
I'm the
it
most-
because it's lame.
No,
You
I
guys
know.
Never
Like,
change.
I'm nothing if not painfully self-aware, and I'm awkward as fuck. I get that. I own it. It's okay. So anyways, welcome back to the show. This is dude, I think you're like one of the most misrepresented people.
Yeah, easily. So many people just think I'm someone else. Like, it'd be
Right?
one thing if they're lying about me, but they're thinking I'm a totally different person. And
In
that's
some circumstances, yes, that's true. But seriously, like, people, it's unbelievable. So they call it like you're a Nazi, dude. They've clearly never listened to you speak, or you know what I mean. And I'm so tired. I can't imagine how you feel.
Oh, it's great. By the way, I finally tracked down. I guess we can provide the context if you really want to. I tracked down what the hell that person was talking about with apparent video of me.
Oh, right.
It's a video of Dana Loesch.
No.
Yeah. Now I know that I very much look like the strapping woman that is the chairman of the NRA, Dana Loesch. Very
did she
familiar
quit or something. Or
I have no idea. I don't fuck the NRA, but
right.
So I literally searched for like keyword searched the exact thing he said, and it popped up with a video of Dana Loesch, and I was like, okay.
Wow. These people are amazing. They're amazing. Like, I think that there's some of these people I think are legitimately paid ops, obviously. But then I think there are some of these people who just buy into like this hive mentality, and they genuinely believe the things that they're saying. And it's kind of amazing. It's like this hive mind.
Right. Like that's crazy. That's almost offensive to like ants for saying hive mind, because there's no operable anything going on there. You can show them exactly what like the truth of the matter in video or picture format or something, and they will be like, no. So it's just intentional division. I really like it was a really old speech that Carl Hess gave like years ago, like in the 70s, where he said, anytime there's 4 people conspiring, 3 of them are federal agents. And you could just take that and apply it to Twitter. Like for every 4 people, 3 of them are paid shills, and one of them is just a genuine idiot.
Well, and I don't even think that it's that 3 of them are paid shills. I think that it's very likely that one person is those 3 different shills, because there's a lot of like they have a bunch of alts and sock accounts and all of this. Like, it's like a whole operation. They're all running multiple accounts. So I don't even think it's like a lot of people.
Yeah, like you could jump into Hootsuite and have like 20 different Twitter accounts, and with a click of a button, switch over to a different Twitter account, post something, switch over to a different Twitter account, post something. Yeah, change your. Sometimes they don't even bother, but change up your syntax, your punctuation, maybe the emojis you use. But then other times it's flagrantly like the same person over like 5 accounts talking the same way and everything.
Oh, and it's so lame. Like, I honestly, like, I just feel bad for them. I can't imagine that being my existence.
Like, I went on people like last night because, like, obviously you see all of the annoying people on the left that attack me, but a lot of people don't see like the right wing like bombardment that I get all the time for talking to you, which is funny. The crosshair. Yeah. How dare you associate with them authoricoms? They try to take my freedoms and blah. And it's like,
when that, like you said earlier, there's a meme that I posted the other day. I'm probably butchering this, but I'm not responsible for the version of me that you've created in your mind. Like, I'm not responsible for that. I'm just not. Like, there are people, I just got into it with somebody the other day who like, they keep saying this TikTok to me. TikTok, like, we're going to expose you. Okay, we'll do it. Like, I've been hearing that for over a year. I have nothing to hide. I'm not grifting. I don't it's unbelievable, because legitimately
same thing with me. Literally everything about my life is like publicly searchable at this point after I've been doxxed, short of me providing my bank statements. People can figure out where I live. My license plate is publicly available. You've had
to deal with a lot worse on that end.
Yeah, so like you could look up anything about me, and it's crazy that like the stupidest narratives propagate. Like the one I saw last night is people were jumping on Jimmy, and he's like, oh, he brought on that Proud Boy. Oh. And I'm like, you would have to literally have never Google searched it never looked it up, never read an article about it, never even clicked the thumbnail, never listened to it. Like, you would have to be as ignorant as possible to think that Jimmy had a Proud Boy on.
Right.
To you know, like, to believe that, because even all of like the shit lib articles and everything that came out explicitly state I'm not a Proud Boy. Right. Everything I say state I'm not a Proud Boy. So if you're running around repeating that now, almost like what we're coming up on 8 months later, like you like I said, is it deliberate, or are they just genuinely that stupid, or is it just regurgitation?
I think all three of those things. I think some people are like paid to cause this division and create these narratives. I think that there are some people who are just genuinely believe in it. They've just bought it. Like I said, it's kind of like everybody needs like something to believe in, like some like team. It's like very team mentality. You know what I mean? And you find your group, and then whatever they say, you believe it. And there's no like intellectual consistency. It's like, you know what I mean? Because I don't agree with everybody. And that's when, you know, the blue team is responsible for raping somebody, I get mad about it. When the red team's responsible for raping somebody, I get mad about it. You know, there's no consistency though. It's like, you know, there's somebody today who was trying to pretend like they were morally superior because like they were trying to say that Julian Assange was a rapist and all of this stuff. And I'm like, you voted for Biden. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And especially God forbid, a lot of these people, this is kind of perfect, just gifted right into our laps. A lot of these people that obviously like go on and on and on and on and on about US imperialism and blah, 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 voted for Joe Biden, and who met with the fucking leader of Vietnam today to discuss forming an anti-China alliance, Kamala Harris. So it's like,
right?
The most glass of houses. Like, seriously.
It's so gross, dude. Because I mean, that's what you really got under somebody's skin the other day when you were like, you voted for Biden, which means I'm to the left of you. And I'm like, oh, that's gonna, like, their brain probably exploded in that like second, because it's true. Like, you know, and listen, you're not of the left. I'm not at all trying to pretend that you are. None of that.
I never even claimed to be.
No. And the guy today who was like, he's not of the left. Well, nobody said that he was. Well, that betrays. So what?
that betrays their thought process, though. 100% of like, you to talk to me, I must be on the left. To do things with me, I must be on the left, and I'm not of the left. So by talking to me, you're trying to make me of the left, and it's like, I forget the quote, but it was something along the lines of like if you're told not to, God, I'm gonna butcher it. It's like, if you question something and all of your friends turn against you, you're not in a political party, you're in a cult.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And like I said, the same thing on the right all the time. Like, the last week has been particularly bad with it, which is stupid because it comes from some people that have followed me for like 6 months now. And you know, because you actually follow my page, I do not shut up about the unity shit. Yeah. I retweet Fred Hampton leftists. I retweet Glory Jones. I retweet Caitlin Johnstone. I retweet all of this fucking shit. I won't shut up about it. And then people will still like comment on something to this day and be like, but not with commies. But like, I'll unite with anybody, but not with commies. But it's like, for one, I think even like that premise alone is stupid to me under my worldview and what I'm trying to accomplish. Let's even operate under that worldview. Who you call communists? 90% of them aren't communists. Like, right? Like, I don't want to go full like Reddit tier enlightened centrism, but seriously, on this case, the right and the left are identical with the Nazi commie shit.
Yes,
100%.
And like, words don't have meaning anymore, dude. Like, words have because you're right. What commie means to one person is like vastly different than what it might mean to somebody else. And it's like, you know, Nancy Pelosi is a progressive, and and Bernie Sanders is a socialist. Are you fucking kidding me? No, that's not a thing. That's not a thing.
Yeah, like I made that post, like, called everybody out eventually of like, look, there's plenty of discussions and debates you can have over left-wing philosophy. But if you're going to look at a man who in his first year expanded funding of the police, went after a bunch of environmental activists, bombed Syria, and bailed out a bunch of corpos, and you're going to go, you commie bastard, you're a clown. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're like, what do you mean? And a lot of people on the right will get mad because even that graph that I made, where I'm like, here I am politically, and I'm literally like dead center in the like anarchist sphere, and here's Joe Biden in like the center right top, and people on the right and be like, he's not a right winger, and I'm like, by what definition, bro? Like, sure, maybe maybe in your definition you'll separate right wing and like authoritarian or like neocon or whatever. Fine, but he's not. There's nothing about Joe Biden that's quote unquote a leftist.
But really, he is like an authoritarian neocon. He just has different rhetoric. Like they're all the same. They just have different words. Like they manipulate you from different angles. That's all that is.
Blue MAGA and rainbow capitalism are my two favorite like go-to words now.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is, and it's so frustrating because it's so apparent. It's so obvious. It's so fucking obvious.
Right? Like, you know, obviously, like maybe some of those criticisms would have stuck a little bit more with Obama because Obama did do like some expansions of like social welfare programs and shit like that. Kind of, but at least like it was there at all.
Yeah.
Biden hasn't done any of that shit. So where are you getting this like he's a lefty thing? Is it just because he uses like quote unquote woke language?
The
like,
people that legitimately think Joe Biden is a left. Oh, dude, I can't. And that's what it makes it so, oh my God. I hate, like, it's so cliche. The Overton window has shifted so far to the right, but it fucking has. Like, we are so far to the right. Not the right. I don't even know if we're so far to cartoon. It's ridiculous. Again, words have no meaning. Words have zero meaning.
Neoconservative is now centrism instead of like extreme, almost off the charts fascism, essentially, like to the T. Like a lot of people forget the history, but a lot of the original neoconservatives were people that were ex-Trotskyists that got kicked out by their friends for being bad people, and then they were like, well, you know, we tried to grift off the communism thing, so now we'll grift off of patriotism. Like these people, the people that started that movement are evil, gross people that got kicked out of the left for being evil, gross people, and then were embraced by the right. Like you're right, it's cartoon shit. It's ridiculously cartoon shit.
It is.
And you know, who else has that same history? You know, we could look at fucking Mussolini, who was kicked out by the left wing and then was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna try this fascism thing. Like, history repeats itself, you know. So the fact that John McCain is considered a sensible centrist, or Nancy Pelosi is a sensible centrist or something, it's like
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called John McCain an example of human decency. Like, and she's considered left? No, that's not how that works. Well, again, maybe that is how it works. This is why I hate labels. This is why I hate labels. Like, and it makes me angry because I always have considered myself of the left. You know what I mean? And now, like, it's like, it doesn't even make sense anymore. It doesn't even make sense anymore.
Yeah, like I'm just spamming that picture of John McCain on stage with Ole Tani Brooke, and then the next picture of Ole Tani Brooke throwing up the Hitler salute and talking about removing the Polish cockroaches from Ukraine and shit. It's like bastion of humanitarianism, John fucking McCain. Team Tumor. We need to get that trending. We need to get
Team Tumor. Yeah.
We need to get Team Tumor trending.
Seriously. Anthony Zinkus tweeted something out today, which was the clip of him doing the bomb Iran thing. And it's really, this is the person who we're celebrating as like some, you know, example of decency and leadership. And what the fuck is that? It's, again, Julian Assange is in prison and George W. Bush is like painting like pictures.
And commenting on the failure of our withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Right. Oh, again, cartoonish. Who gives a flying fuck what George W. Bush has to say about anything, let alone Afghanistan? The shoe because of that day where him and Tony Blair came out and released statements. I think the shoe throwing gift will be in the top, like my top 10 like recent gifts for all time, because it was like 100 different posts that I just posted the picture of, like, no one fucking asked you with the shoe throwing gift. It's so gross that we've rehabilitated. And
they're gonna do it to Trump. People don't think they will.
Absolutely.
They're gonna
Are
do
you
it to
kidding
Trump.
me? Cuomo, give it 2 years. Andrew Cuomo will be rehabilitated. He'll be running for something probably, or he'll be who knows what. He'll have a job on MSNBC or CNN. Like maybe his brother and him will have like a little duo show or whatever. It's coming. It's fucking coming.
Yeah. How
Trump too?
How? Because I think it was I'm forgetting who. I think it was like Dave Smith or something on his podcast. Just played a highlight reel of all these lefty. My arms are not wide enough for fucking quotations here. Journalists that were just creaming their pants over Cuomo to the point where unironically they created Cuomo sexual.
Yes.
It wasn't a right-wing like smear that they embraced. No, they created quote, showing them all of this, and then showing them the furthest they've gone has been like, well, this is unfortunate, but we'll wait for the facts.
Right.
And it's like, how do any of you have a job? How are any of you can walk out into polite society and anyone respect your fucking Starbucks order? Like, you are such a clown, mass murdering, molesting fucking creeper. Right? Like, what do you mean?
Dude, okay, so here's the thing. The fact that Joe Biden got elected to the presidency of the United States, listen, there are videos of him. You can try to play those off. I have been that little fucking girl where some creepy old dude thinks he can put his hands on you. That's not okay. And the fact that he was able to be elected president after those videos came out is not really unbelievable, but it's gross. It's gross. That's not okay. That's just not okay.
It goes to show just how desperate we are, because if you remember, I always forget his name, but the Bia guy that literally that tanked his career. He made that noise.
Howard Dean?
Yeah, that noise tanked Howard Dean's career, and he was like the darling for that election. He was
the sheepdog. He was the sheepdog.
He was the one that they wanted really bad to run, and that killed it. But Joe Biden can like space the fuck out on stage in Israel and turn over and be like, your daughter really pretty for her age, and that's fine.
Oh my god, dude! He had what was he? I don't even. He was signing something, and he like called a little girl up. What? If you're Joe Biden,
like his on-demand fucking like bull girl or something.
And I don't know if that was.
Where's my 12-year-old?
What'd you say, Sleepy?
Where's my 12-year-old?
No, she was even younger than that, fam. She was younger than that. I was like 6, maybe 6 or 7, maybe.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, like to call her up, like you're on camera on national television, you're Joe Biden. This is a thing that people think is gross and weird. And you call up a little girl on national TV as you're signing a piece of legislation, and everybody's just like, oh, that's okay. This is not okay. Jesus Christ. That's not okay.
Today I was like, because I just go through like my daily listen to everything that came out politically across the spectrum, and I'm sitting here listening. I think like Steve Bannon or something went on Tim Pool, and obviously like it was just 90% China hawking, fucking what China's gonna. But he did make one good point that I never thought of, and it's so weird. And it would take a boomer like Steve Bannon to notice this. He's like, why does Joe Biden only give announcements and speeches at 4 p.m.? Why isn't he doing it at like 7 and 8 like every other president in history? And it's like, oh, because he's an old fucking man who probably is like passed out by like 5 o'clock, you know?
Seriously. I mean, the fact that anybody thinks that Joe Biden is making decisions on any level is amazing to me. And I forget I don't remember who it was that said it. Might have been Glenn Greenwald, but like the fact that it doesn't really expose the fact that he can't make the decision. It's that no president makes decisions. It's just, he's just like, the president's an actor. It's the lobbyists and the donors and those people.
This all got exposed with Donald Trump with the Syria thing, when it was like the generals were directly manipulating information so we wouldn't pull out of Syria. It's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a puppet thing, which is why I don't even care about the president. Like I embrace, like I still would absolutely love to get, the Hail Mary shot to get a Green Party and an LP person on stage at debates. They'll never win, and it doesn't even matter if they did win, because it's a puppet thing. That's a messaging thing.
Right.
But past that, I do not give a fuck about that institution. It doesn't matter. It's not where the power is. It's just a dartboard.
Clearly, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know how many more presidents we need to have where the agenda stays exactly the same with just like it's just a different cover on the same book. That's all it is. It's like, a different, what's the word I'm looking for? Presentation of the same bullshit. You know what I mean? That's all it really is. It's just different rhetoric. It's different angles. It's different spin, but they're all working towards the same end goal. I mean, it couldn't be more clear. And look at just the Capitol Police vote. The fact that the squad, just speaking like from a leftist perspective, the fact that the squad, one vote, that's all it took. 3 of them voted present. And then I'm supposed to believe that's, come on, y'all.
Where's the firebrands, man? Like,
right?
Where's the
people
that are willing to? Yeah, where the people that are willing to put? Because that's what we elect you for. Fuck decorum. Fuck being nice. Like it was so stupid. But to like give an example of like the energy I expect from people for the level of fucking disrespect, when they were doing the Green New Deal, whatever, that whole bullshit fucking, you know, environmental psyop, whatever.
Right.
And that one Republican like House person went up there and did a filibuster giving a speech about like tauntauns and velociraptors for like, where is like AOC like giving a filibuster while like live streaming on Twitch talking about how these are all like warmongers and fucking evil people and we're not going to pass this? Where's that energy? Where is the warranted and deserved disrespect for these fucking awful people from the revolutionaries, you know?
Right.
Like, where?
I would fucking
where?
Yo, this is what pisses me off. It pisses me off because there are still people defending the squad and these like progressives, and the whole thing that they ran on was we're going to get into Congress and we're going to challenge the Democratic establishment. Like that's what they said in their campaigns. Like we're going to challenge Nancy Pelosi.
Grandma Nancy Pelosi, whatever she said.
Auntie Nancy.
Auntie, oh my God.
Auntie Nancy and Mama Bear. And I mean, it's seriously AOC on The View, like national TV was like, Nancy Pelosi is like the Mama Bear of Congress. You don't mess with her. Like just straight up told you she's never going to challenge her ever. And like I said, like twice.
And like I said, could you imagine if you went back to like the Tea Party days or something like that, and Ron Paul went up here and he's like, and this is my good friend Papa McCain. You know, like imagine, but that's what's happening. It's flipped over to the other side. It's preposterous to me. And then fucking the golden example that came up recently that I'm losing my train of thought. So I'm trying to remember. I thought of it before this. Fuck.
Something about the squad or Bernie, like Bernie.
Actually, totally sidetracked. Anyways, but before I forget it, there is one thing I wanted to mention. Did you see what happened with Enrique Tarrio?
Yes, I did. I sure did.
That is the most fed shit I've ever seen in my life, bro.
So much of it right now.
It's my life.
There's so honestly, I mean, listen, I don't know for sure, but I think anybody who and I'm not saying I'm perfect at like recognizing every instance of psyops, because I think everybody is, you know, can fall for anything. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot to keep yourself fully aware of all of that stuff at all the time. But it's so obvious. Like it's so all this shit is so. I mean,
Tarrio is like a open and done case, 100%. Like prolific informant for federal agencies over
it's like a known thing.
Yeah, like 15 years or something, like they said that, of being a drug snitch, of a gun snitch, of snitching on like everything. This is what this guy does. And like that's it. And the fact that he got 150 days for destruction of property and fucking felony possession of illegal weaponry, contraband essentially, while like one of his supporters, I think it is getting like facing 5 years for aggressively pointing his finger at Washington D.C. Like Fed, Fed, 100%,
obvious Fed.
And that leads into the other thing I wanted to talk, because I saw you get flack over this stupidly and pointlessly, of calling out the totally organic fucking medieval times reenactment in Portland.
Oh,
fucking. And attacking journalists and shit like that. And you called out AFA for doing that justifiably, because why the fuck are you attacking journalists? Like, just fuck off.
Yeah.
But then I was on the other side screaming at the fucking Proud Boys for like beating up people in their cars and shit.
Dude, and they flipped over a disability bus. Like what
the fuck?
What's wrong with you? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Who are you help? Like, what is that helping? What does that prove? Like, I don't fucking understand. So you're going to go after like the most fucked over, and what the fuck, dude?
It was even more stupid because there was a disabled journalist in a fucking power scooter driving behind them filming while they flipped the fucking utility.
It's all just a bunch of like little boys cosplaying, like total LARPing, and then it's a bunch of feds. You know what I mean? Like it's like a soap opera. It's like a play. It's like a play, live action. Like, here we go. Get your popcorn.
Yeah, it's so stupid because like if they wanted to like fight for real, the cops obviously aren't doing anything about it, so they could do that. And if they just wanted to leave each other the fuck alone, they could just do that. But instead, they're showing up with paintball guns and fireworks.
Right?
Like, come on.
It's a show. And then somebody got mad at me because I called out them for attacking the journalist, and the dude was like, then she should just stay home. And I'm like, she shouldn't film them, and if she has a problem with that, she should just stay home. Well, she's a journalist. Her job is to film and report on the things that are happening in the streets of Portland. She's an independent local journalist. If you don't want to be filmed in your little cosplay, then stay home. How about that? How about that?
Like I said, dude, and again, especially, it's especially weird. Like, you're all blacked out and masked up, and I can't tell a single thing about you besides you're definitely white. It's like, okay, that's the only thing I tell about you. Okay, so like, what the fuck is the deal? And I made the whole thing of like, when this first happened, when you had things like the battle in Berkeley or whatever, I kind of got criticized by people because I was like, I don't care. And like, oh, you don't care about this? I'm like, no, I don't care about a bunch of stupid grown men having like mutual combat in the fucking street. Like, I just don't give it. If they want to go be stupid, fine. And that's kind of
like, what does that solve?
It doesn't solve anything, but like, I just don't care. I'm not going to clutch my pearls about it or pick a fucking side. It was the same thing that happened in Grand Rapids. The Proud Boys showed up, Antifa showed up, they got into fucking fist fights like children, and then they left. And it's like, okay, I just don't care. Like, but then now it's escalated to the point where just random people are getting roped into this. Random people are getting jacked out of their car and beat up and fucking mistaken and whatever. Because that happened to my buddy in DC. That night that Tario fucking burned the BLM banner, he was there on the side of the BLM people protesting because it turned into it was like two separate protests, and then they ran into each other and it turned into fucking clusterfuck because that's what happens every single time. And then he left, and he was like 5-6 blocks away, sitting on a street corner, waiting for his Uber to come get him. And 3 Proud Boys walked up and saw that he had a BLM patch on his plate carrier. We're like, is that a BLM patch? He's like, yeah. And then they beat the shit out of him. And it's like,
it's just so dumb.
When it was just a stupid football game that was contained to like one fucking location, whatever. I think it's pointless, self-destructive, whatever. But like, again, I'm not going to cry over 2 grown men deciding to be stupid, But now that like random innocent people are getting beat up, journalists are getting beat up, the Proud Boys are jumping random fucking people. It's like,
but the escalation is intentional, and it's you know what I mean? It's meant to cause division, and it's meant it's a bunch of feds trying to heighten tension amongst the people. Like I said, I've posted it on Twitter all the time. They would much rather start a civil war than deal with a class war. That's why they work so hard at dividing everybody. That's why they're very good at it. They've been doing it for a really long time. And they've only gotten more effective. And it's like the vaccine stuff, COVID stuff. They're using all of that against us. It's emotional manipulation. They use it to keep us fighting amongst ourselves so that we're not paying attention to the man behind the curtain. And it's so frustrating because, listen, I'm not saying that we don't have disagreements. And I'm not saying that, there aren't things that we need to have serious conversations about, but we can't even begin to deal with those issues until we deal with the system that's trying to kill us.
Yeah.
We can't fix anything until we deal with that, it's frustrating that people are so willing to get distracted. And again, I don't mean to diminish these issues, racism and all of they're all really important things. And we need to have those conversations, but how are we even supposed to begin to do that in this reality, in this system, in the way that things are going right now? We can't, we're so far beyond that. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Especially like people's like absolute willingness to be co-opted at this point. Like it's almost a willingness at this point that they just let it fucking happen. Mm-hmm. Some like random clown from one of the political parties can wander up on stage and just get them totally misdirected and sent into left fucking field about shit that doesn't even matter or whatever. And it's absurd to me. I had this at Yale when I was at that convention, to where like if you look at it from a libertarian's perspective, okay, what are big issues that are going on right now? Like the Fed money printer has gone fucking burr to the point of breaking, and they're just dumping money on all sorts of stupid shit. We can talk about that. We could talk about the war on, like, the increasing war on domestic terrorism. That's bullshit. We could talk about like the expansion of the military, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Instead, you had these super AstroTurf, like, running for, obviously because it's a political convention. All it was young Republicans walking around being like, support my political career. Here's my fucking card. While me and all the anarchists were at the bar getting hammered and talking about how much we hate the government. But like they got on stage and immediately started talking about wokeism. And it's like, And again, it's not that there's not things to talk about there. There's not that there's not problems you could address there. But that's the problem. That's the problem right now. The fucking like weird kids on TikTok using strange pronouns is the biggest problem in the fucking world, compared to the fact that the president of the United States just put environmental activists and pro-life and pro-choice activists on the fucking domestic terror list.
Right.
Like, that's not what we're talking about. That isn't the entire convention, top to fucking bottom. That isn't like the most from a libertarian perspective. Okay. Like, you know, you don't like CRT, you can homeschool. You don't like the fucking, even like the vaccine mandates. Technically, you could still avoid them. You can't stop the FBI labeling like your cousin who fucking has a Trump flag as a domestic terrorist. So you think that would be the topic, right? I think that's what we'd be screaming to the hills about. But no. So it's like,
no, because they like throw these shiny things at us, like, oh, look over here, and they, you know, it's really frustrating, because not only are they getting us, you know, with the electoral system, not only they're getting us to vote against our own interests for those who do vote, they're legitimately getting people to think against their own interests, because they'll take this shit in and they believe it, like they believe this shit. And it's, you know, like I say this all the time. It makes me really fucking sad that Americans, and not just Americans, but globally, but I mean, specifically just speaking about where we live, people like, this is what you're willing to accept for yourself. Like, this is the best that we can do. Like, this is really, this is the reality that you're like just going to normalize and be okay with and not fight for better. And it's so fucking bizarre that we can't just, you know, why can't we just recognize that everybody benefits from a stabilized society? You know what I'm saying? Like, when everybody is like just having your very basic needs met, if everybody's basic needs were met, then it's good for everybody. That's good for everybody.
Because that's something Spike says like all the times, of like, is like 400 trillion or 40 trillion, I don't remember the number, in debt. And it's like, okay, so we're that much in debt. Where are the roads? Where do we have great roads? Do we have beautiful airports? Do we have awesome hospitals?
An amazing education system?
Yeah. Do we have good education system? Fucking like public transit? Do we have any of that?
Anything?
Shit? No, it's crumbling at the fucking seams. And it's like,
we do have a lot of bombs, though.
Got a lot of bombs. Rainbow bombs. Rainbow bombs.
They hug you to death. So nice.
And it's like and
warm and fuzzy inside.
And again, no, sorry, it was $40 trillion into Afghanistan. How is Afghanistan not Shangri fucking La, bro? Like, how is Afghanistan
in like 48 hours?
$40 trillion. How is it not like fucking Dubai with like beautiful skyscrapers and shit for $40 trillion?
Well, we did give him a Black Hawk helicopter. Did you see that video today? That the Taliban now has a Black Hawk, and like there's a whole bunch of weapons. And
they're trying so hard to figure it out. It's so cute.
Oh,
someone was like GTA Kabul, and it's just like a Taliban guy trying to take off with a fucking helicopter. Oh my god!
It's cartoonish. Again, it is cartoonish. It's stupid,
but again, really, it's like that's the main thing is particularly, you know, to try to at least tie it back to like a little bit of the war issue. Like, that's why the war is such like the war shit. And the global imperialism is such an important thing to me, because you can go each step down the line. It's still bad unless you deal with this. Step one, like, we can't afford to do 90% of fucking people's utopias and shit, because we spend it all on war and bullshit and imperialism all over. And let's say we can't afford it. Then cool. That means that our ability to afford it, your new awesome cardiovascular machine at your local hospital that you get with your brand new healthcare, was paid by a bunch of Chilean fucking miners that got shot and thrown over a cliff. So you can get the parts to make that. So it's like every step of the way, like someone else was like, what's the point of addressing the warfare state? We should just give everybody UBI and that'll solve the issue.
No.
It's like great. Then your UBI is going to be paid off of fucking slave labor in Africa, off to some shell company that's run through the CIA. Congrats. Like, at that point, if you transition from like a quote unquote capitalist to quote unquote socialist society, then you're a socialist society propped off the backs of fucking awful shit. So you still have to address the warfare problem. You still have to address the imperial problem. And a lot of people are just like, oh, well, no, bro. Like,
what is that?
It's like give them free healthcare, then they'll care about war. It's like,
dude.
No.
And people get mad at me because they'll say that I'm attacking the left. What the fuck is the left on imperialism? It's what the hell? I don't I guess maybe I just had like this completely wrong view of what the left in this country is. Again, labels mean nothing, but to me, you can't be a leftist and like be okay with imperialism. That's just not a thing. That's not okay. Like that's not a non-negotiable. And there are so many, quote unquote leftists who are out here completely ignoring foreign policy at all. Like they don't even equate the fact that we don't have Medicare for all with how much. I mean, and again, I get it, MMT people. Like I'm just saying that if we're talking to, they don't even put the two things like that. That's even a possibility that those two things are connected. They can't make these. It's like they think all of these issues happen in a vacuum and they aren't intertwined. And all of this shit is, you know what I mean? Like,
right. And even to like the MMT people. Okay, let's just say money is fucking fake and you could just print all of it you want. Fine. Like I said, those for your Medicare for all, you're going to have to expand the healthcare system rapidly, and you're going to have to build hospitals and build equipment and build all of that. That requires resources. Resources are real. Resources that we are stealing from Africa, stealing from South America, stealing from Asia, killing people and enslaving people to get those fucking resources, robbing those countries of that, having them sell. Like, I think the one I always remember is the tobacco industry of they have these poor fucking farmers that are drinking like shit water, dying and over in Romania and stuff, selling giant bundles of tobacco for like 1 cent a pound or something, to where then the tobacco companies sell it for like $7 a pack in like tiny cigarettes. Yeah. So we're raping the world for those resources that will pay for that. So
look what we're doing in Syria right now.
Yeah.
We control 40% of their oil fields. Why? We don't.
Yeah.
What?
Even under MMT, you have to address this shit. Yes. Because then you're living an even cushier life off the backs of someone else's fucking suffering.
Yeah.
So we're living a shitty life now off of the back of someone else's suffering. So yeah, let's just improve our life, but not address the suffering.
Right. And we could do both of those things.
Yeah.
Like listen, I mean, I know we don't have any basis for comparison here, but humanity has actually managed to do a lot of really cool things. And we could absolutely 100% figure out how to take care of everybody on a basic level. I mean, everybody, look at all the things that we have. Like nobody's entitled to more than any one other person. Like we can take care of each other. Like, I don't know why I'm called like this crazy commie, like this, oh, you're such a hippie. Like you really just think that we should just everybody should just be taken care of. Well, yes. Why is that crazy? I want to see my neighbors be able to survive and live a decent life and not have to struggle. And we have the ability to do that. Nobody's entitled to more than any one other human being. Jeff Bezos is not entitled to his gazillions of dollars. Bill Gates is not. What did they do?
Space cock.
Right? What the fuck did they do to deserve that? They didn't do shit to deserve that.
Fuck.
They didn't. They exploited people.
That's a whole nother thing. I went into the rabbit hole because I just kicked the fucking nest of people on the right. I'm
sure.
I went in on Bezos, and they just went out like blah blah blah, like private company. He earned all his wealth. He is a welfare queen.
Yes.
Giant welfare queen.
He's bought politicians. He's completely rigged the system in his personal favor. He exploits people. He has done nothing to actually. Do you really think he works that much harder than everybody else? No. He just managed to figure out, right?
Favorable tax breaks, favorable tax institutions, fucking predatory loans that benefit him and fuck over his customers.
He doesn't offer benefits. He makes his employees pee in bottles so that they can work harder. He doesn't pay them well.
Never mind the direct cash fucking infusions. Like everybody points out that they bought that movie company for $10 million immediately after the government gave him $10 million for his fucking space program.
We're funding that shit. That's why he's so rich, because he's managed to rig the system so that we're paying for his shit. Like entirely. Like he doesn't pay taxes. Amazon doesn't pay taxes. You do. You pay a shit ton in taxes. I do. I pay a shit ton in taxes. Jeff Bezos Amazon doesn't pay anything in taxes. I mean, come on. That doesn't make sense on any level. I don't care. Like he's not that cool. Sorry, fam. He's not. Nobody's that fucking cool.
And that's why like again, I think it just doesn't cross a lot of people's radar. But the people's radar that I do see, that it seems super like Fed shit to me in a way. Because when, like, I'll use the example, when Rand Paul had his whole thing where he wanted to pass a bill to reduce the tax code to 10 pages. So it was super simple. So these people couldn't get screwed out of it. Poor people couldn't go to jail for incorrectly filling out their fucking Byzantine maze of the tax code or whatever. Like a bunch of like shit libs attacked him for it. It's like, Why? The bill had nothing to do with lowering taxes or increasing taxes or anything. It was literally like, let's just make it simple for people to understand. It's like, that seems like a bipartisan thing. I don't see anybody
That's
rationally...
a common fucking sense thing.
Right.
Why does that have to be so fucking complicated? I'll tell you why. Because then they can make all these little loopholes and they can make it confusing and they can screw you over while personally enriching themselves. Come on, y'all.
I paid for my secretary to go on a $30,000 vacation to Aruba, which happened the third day before the second quarter, which means my tax break goes down by $10,000. That's why the tax code is like a fucking zoo. And again, like, people attacked him over that. And there's so many just like obvious cross-pollination things between people that would make sense. That just doesn't happen. And that's why I feel like an alien sometimes. Because I'll talk to you and I'll talk to Fee and I'll talk to like Spike Cohen and all these people about all this unity stuff. And they're like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'll talk to other people and they'll be like, no. And it's like, why? And it's like, because they're bad. It's like somebody commented on the End of Damn Wars page and they're like, marching with libertarians is a really bad idea to end war. And I'm like, I literally just responded, go start another event then. And they're like, oh, that's an intelligent response. And I responded,
yes,
it's a unity march. And your criticism is to not do that. So what do I have to say to you?
You don't get to complain about how other people are organizing if you sit on your ass and don't organize anything. If you think you can do it better, then go do it better. Like, it's so fucking annoying.
The only reason I'm doing this fucking event is because there's no events.
Right.
Dude, the fall of fucking Kabul is happening right now. You have neocons on fucking Fox News, like, clutching their pearls and demanding airstrikes. You think this would be the moment that the streets would just be fucking full of people and not some random idiot in a 500 square foot apartment in fucking Michigan would have to put on an anti-war protest. Like, what do you mean?
Well, and the fact that this whole, like, you can't talk to libertarians. What the actual fuck is wrong with you? I do not understand this logic at all. Because, and here's the thing, they'll try to do, here, somebody's going to use this as proof. You're Red Brown Alliance. Y'all, I hate to tell you this, but there's a lot of space in between Bernie Sanders and literal Nazis. There's a lot of room here. There's a lot of fucking room here. There are a lot of people in this space that you could talk to and that actually agree with you on a lot of fucking things. And a lot of Republicans or conservatives or whatever are interested in universal healthcare. They're interested in ending the fucking wars. Y'all, I don't care who I have to work with to end the wars. I don't care. I don't care. I do not fucking care.
Again, like the whole thing with the libertarian shit is just so funny to me because Vermin Supreme is part of the Libertarian Party. Free healthcare, universal basic income, end the wars, abolish the police. Vermin Supreme, who runs around with a boot on his head and fucking talks about how much he likes Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Okay, is part of the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's the same shit when people talk shit about the Greens, and it's like. It's like, oh, they're just a bunch of communists. I'm like, bro, I know like fucking middle class, like dorky white women that just really like trees that are part of the Green Party, bro. Like,
people have this again. It's like this invented reality. Like, you have this picture in your head of who I am or who Magnus is or what, and you like pigeonhole people. You don't ever actually listen to them. Like, people don't ever actually listen to each other. And there's a lot of shit that we agree on. And again, this doesn't mean that you have to like go on vacation together or have dinner parties together. Like, I just want to end the fucking wars. And if that means that I have to work with people that I disagree with on other things, I don't care. Because it's not about me. It's not about my ego. It's about I want to end the fucking wars. Why? I don't know why that's fucking controversial. I don't know. Really? We have to end the fucking end the wars. That should be like top priority. Do you understand the devastation we're causing throughout the world? Really? Seriously? We can't have a conversation with people that we don't agree with about ending the wars.
And that's why we're just so fucking paralyzed. We're paralyzed right now. And it's explicitly because of that shit. It's the division. It's the nonsense. I can go back to Occupy. I can go back to the original anti-war movement. I can go to the current drug decriminalization fucking movement. The current drug decriminalization movement has all the way down to like local homeless anarcho-communist man, all the way up to like Carl fucking Schwab, okay? And I'm not even saying like, obviously fuck him, but I'm saying like and look, the only place that we're winning politically for freedom in this country is on drugs and weed legalization and like mushroom legalization. Why are we winning on that?
Because they want to medicate us.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, to a degree, but also like that movement is full of everybody. It is the most political, like the marijuana legalization, like fucking movement is everyone, and they're winning. So it's almost like if you just shut up and work together, you could win.
Which is, I don't understand why that's so like crazy. Why is that crazy for me to be willing to talk to people? I mean, am I supposed to like have every person fill out a questionnaire of like their different beliefs on every single issue? And if they're guilty of wrongthink on any one of those things, then I can't work with them? Because I would like to get shit done. And that's not how you get shit done.
Right. Like it's insane to me too, of like, it doesn't even matter if your beliefs, because I have done like several hours at this point of meticulously outlining like my worldview, my beliefs, my ideological beliefs. What is mutualism? What is my criticism of capitalism? What is my criticism of communism? What is my utopian society? Who is Max Stirner? Fucking Emma Goldman, fucking Voltaire, everyone who's in this book right here, all the anarchists that are in this book. I have meticulously detailed all of my beliefs about them. I directly quote them like every day. You know, I do at least one post from a quote from an anarchist every day. I could spit the fucking literature back out at you. I live the principles, but I'm a right-wing anarcho-capitalist because I associate with right-wing anarcho-capitalists. So
but
it doesn't
you also
even matter.
Associate with me, and you also associate with Fee and Steve, and so that's what I'm saying. It's like guilt by association. People think that if you have a conversation, like me talking to you right now, all of a sudden, all of your beliefs and all of your thoughts are now transferred into me, and they're the exact same things. And so, like, you know,
like Joe Biden sucking the blackness out of a voter,
right? No, I can talk to people who have different opinions than me. That's a good thing. Like, that's how you grow as a person, and you challenge your own positions. And again, I'm not, and people will say, yeah, but there are people who are going to try to co-opt the movement. They're going to try. Yeah, of course, there's going to be those things. That's fucking obvious. But you can still navigate that space, and you can still have those conversations, and still, like, I know what I stand for. So I'm not. I mean, I'm mindful of the fact that people can manipulate
when the politicians do it, they're reaching across the aisle. Right? When we do it, they do this on purpose because they don't want us fucking unifying. That they're terrified that we're gonna fucking come take their money.
And I don't want propaganda ever. And I don't want to hear motherfucking anything about co-option. Okay, when you motherfuckers just let it happen with politicians. Okay, because God forbid I'm like, abolish the police, fucking close all the fucking prisons, like appeal civil asset forfeiture, ban no-knock raids. I can say all of that. I'm not welcome at the event because I disagree on maybe other things. I might not even disagree on other things. You just assume that we disagree on other things. But some fucking Democrat politician can come in there and be like, okay, I think defunding the police is a little extreme, but we should criticize them. And you guys fucking clap like seals.
Yeah, I'm so sick of it. Oh, I'm so tired.
Shut up about co-option. I swear to God. You know?
Right?
Like,
it's
how easy was it for the Democrats to co-opt defund the police? How easy was it for them to co-opt Black Lives Matter? How easy was it? How easy was it for them to fucking co-opt the eviction crisis, the eviction moratorium? All they had to do was go sit outside on some fucking stone steps and cry into an approved camera and avoid any hard questions, and chase Franco out for just
literally bring out a boom box so that you can avoid tough questions from a reporter.
Not even, and he wasn't even a tough question.
No,
Franco was like, "Hey,
they should have an easy answer for it. This is what they fucking ran on."
It's the whole reason they're out there is of opposition to the eviction moratorium. Franco walks up and he's like, "Okay, so are you going to stop it?" And she fucking panics and runs away.
What happens in 60 days when this extension? Well, we'll deal with that later. Like, she literally like brushed him the fuck off and was like, "We'll handle that later." No, let's handle it fucking now. We don't have really. This is the shit that you proclaim to care about. Like motherfuckers.
Misty, I'm going to have a concert with Eric Clapton. Okay, when is Eric Clapton going to show up? We'll address that later. It's like the whole point. What do you mean?
Right? Like, what really pisses me off is that instead of going in there, they shouldn't have been going in there talking about an extension on an eviction moratorium. They should have been going in there talking about cancellation of rent and mortgages. Period. End of story. Like, you don't come in lowballing this shit. And people will get mad at me on the left because I'm talking about mortgage and like, okay, I hate landlords too. Like, I hate landlords. But if we let them lose all of their properties, who buys that shit? BlackRock. You really want BlackRock buying all that shit up? I don't. So yes, I would like to abolish landlords, but that's not where we are right now. Yeah, and so we need to make sure that they're taken care of too.
Okay. Guess what, people? I'm a mutualist, so I also hate landlords. Crazy fucking concept. Yeah. Anyways,
I'm not a fan of landlords.
Yeah, but that people, again, like, people don't understand that certain forms of radicalism make the situation worse. Mm-hmm. We deal with this in the militia movement all the fucking time. We have to deal with these room temperature IQ redneck dudes that appear up, and he's like, we should just fucking go and just like attack the politicians. And I'm like, okay. And then you're going to get demonized, and you're going to get fucked, and the police state's going to expand, and your family's going to get ruined. So congrats, your action caused a worse problem. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with the BlackRock thing. Okay, you just tell all of these and again, when people get mad at mortgages, not everybody who has a mortgage is a landlord. People own their own houses. Crazy concept.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of a crazy concept these days.
Yeah. But I digress. But yeah, like, if you just kick out all of the normie landlords, then you're just going to get slumlords who don't give a fuck and who are protected by the government.
Slumlords
with great fucking lawyers where, Johnny, the guy who owns 3 properties that lives down the fucking street, tries to kick you out early, and you take him to court and he settles out and you don't get kicked out. That's fine. Try doing that with, like, I don't know, like AG Properties that has, 10,000 properties across the United States and enough lawyers to fucking literally strangle you to death with their body weight. Like, have fun. You're making the situation worse. But that goes back to, like, the whole thing I said in the beginning of the lockdowns, and people even jump on me for, like, my anti-lockdown stance or whatever. When the first thing I ever said is, you have 2 options with the lockdowns. You either let people roam free and do whatever the fuck they want and leave it alone, or you drag the country to a halt. Mm-hmm. No, I don't owe you taxes. I don't owe you fucking speeding tickets. I don't owe you rent. I don't owe you mortgage. I don't own my business fucking, like,
student
license,
loans,
anything. Pause. Stop.
Nothing.
Instead, we paused rent, student loan payments temporarily, and mortgages temporarily. But you still owe taxes.
But dude, at the end of that 60 days, you're gonna owe like a fucking year
more.
Of rent.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's
like
not
18 months into this shit.
And I wouldn't even argue delay it, because that's what they did. No, stop. Pause. Everybody is off the fucking hook.
Yeah.
And like, if you're a landlord and you have to require, like, maintenance on that property, whatever. Okay, the government has to fucking cover that too. Yep. Like, everything. Yeah. Stop. That's not what we did. And that's why it's such a clusterfuck. And that's why you have divisions in between classes, between employer and employee, between landlord and tenant, and everything like that. Because if we would have just dragged this all to stop in the beginning and, like, okay, we're shutting the fucking country down. The politicians aren't getting paid. Like, everything's just stopping.
Yes.
Until they're cool. This wouldn't happen. There wouldn't be these, but we did it almost like, and conspiratorial a little bit. We did it almost by design to make all of this infighting to people ignore this. Why? Like, even with the renter and the landlord thing, why is the person you're most pissed off your landlord and not the fucking politicians who could have paid you both a lot of money and instead gave, like, what was, like, $34 million to Israel, $24 million to Pakistan. We funded a bunch of Syrian cops.
We just increased the defense budget by another, like, $21 billion a year or some shit.
Right.
Like,
and
really?
I was listening to Garland just today, and he's like count up the numbers, like 2 million in Afghanistan in the last year, fucking, what was it? 1.7 trillion in the fucking fighter funding or whatever. Like, the infrastructure bill that's, like, giving millions of dollars, just stupid shit or whatever. Oh, again, like, to my right wing people, you got to understand this. It rings hollow when you say that we can't pay for this shit. When we pay for this shit, we're paying for this other.
Okay, thank you for saying that, because this
it
is
rings
really
hollow.
Frustrating. Yes. It's really frustrating to me, because this, like, my pinned tweet is like, it talks about this. Like, people like, oh, you just want free stuff. It's not free. We're already paying for, like, blowing up poor people in brown countries. We're paying for that. Like, you're paying for that. And instead, we could be making sure that everybody could go see a doctor. Crazy thought. Like, whoa, or like that everybody could have like a house to live in so that they don't have to live on the streets and that our crime rates will go down. And, or we could, there's so many other better things we could be spending our money on. And the fact that anybody is okay with the way that it's fucking nuts. We're killing people for profit instead of taking care of our own. Why are you okay with that? Why is anybody okay with that?
And it's unacceptable. And again, like it always seems like everybody's arguing from neutral and not the situation. It's the same thing, we just kind of covered a bit with like you can't have free healthcare and not address imperialism. It's the same thing on the right of like, you cannot say like, oh, like it's going to bankrupt the country if we do free healthcare or something like that, if you're not addressing imperialism, because then it rings hollow as fuck. If the Air Force can get a fucking, be charging the Treasury $2,500 for cups, and you turn around and say that for a bag of saline, some poor person in Chicago has to pay $100 for it.
More probably.
To anybody sensible in the world, that is bullshit. Yeah. But everyone's arguing from like net zero of like, okay, well now we're in the perfectly neutral utopian society. This is what we're supposed to do. And it's like, no, dude, we're way in the dystopia.
Yeah,
we're way in the fucking
that's
dystopia.
Not in any way hyperbolic, conspiratorial. Like we really are. We're not in a good spot. And this brings it all back again to propaganda, because people have, again, like they're able to manipulate the way that you even just think about these things. And it's so terrifying to me. Like when the whole we're pulling out of Afghanistan thing, the support for pulling out of Afghanistan dropped like by 26 percentage points, because the mainstream media, the propaganda, them freaking out over we're leaving Afghanistan. And then the way that they're able to manipulate public opinion. And that, again, that's not conspiratorial. This is, Noam Chomsky, and Noam Chomsky needs to shut the fuck up challenge. I have a lot of respect for him. He was instrumental in my radicalization or whatever. Like he really was. Like I don't mean to disparage him entirely, but Jesus, just
as an anarchist, he hurts me often.
He hurts me too sometimes, but, he's still like a brilliant guy, and he told us all of these things. It's not like we don't know that we know these things happen. They use the same exact playbook over and over and over again because it works.
Oh my God. So real talk moment.
I like real talk moments.
Me and you are very similar in terms of our not giving a fuck. Sometimes having to be like, have our friends tap us on the shoulder and be like,
calm the fuck down.
Calm the fuck down. So the Taliban retweeted WikiLeaks.
I saw that.
And
I shouldn't laugh, but I have to laugh.
And my first thought, and I pulled back on it, obviously. I pumped the brakes. I'm like, I wonder if I could get the Taliban to talk about the protest. and then my immediate next thought was like, no, that's a really bad
idea. Yeah.
But again, I point out though, that is the level of clown, is like people when the Taliban was making comments about free speech, and people are like, oh, what room do you have to talk? And it's like,
really?
It rings pretty hollow, bro, when you're talking about this totalitarian regime in Afghanistan, when like I can pull up pictures of fucking Marines like killing puppies and raping women and shit. It's like
pissing on corpses and torturing people, like thumbs up beside. The fact that anybody falls for that the United States is the good guys and it's all for humanitarian reasons, and y'all, I get that. Again, the propaganda game in this country is incredibly strong, and it starts from birth. Like from birth, you are inundated with propaganda. But it's really gross. It's really gross at this point. I mean, it's not like we don't know what's happening now. It's not like we haven't had like a weapons of mass destruction and incubator babies and a Gulf of Tonkin and all of these times that they've been caught just 100% fucking us over, like lying, gaslighting, and that we're still doing this shit. It's just really. Ugh.
But all that stopped 30 years ago, don't you know? Everything's great now. Everything's great now.
I mean, you talk about like the Mockingbird media. They don't even hide it anymore. They just hire them as literal paid contributors. MSNBC has like James Clapper on the regular, and that's normalized. Like this is like spooks are on news channels. And everybody thinks that that's okay. That's not okay.
Yeah, when the fucking director of the CIA is retweeting a picture of it's like their Taliban and it's a picture of the Taliban, it's our Taliban, it's a bunch of pictures of Trump supporters. It's like, bro, what do you mean? And then obviously, like, you look at, you know, infamously, you know, star of a fucking Law and Order episode here, you know, like the propaganda there. Like where they were taking swings at anti-fascists and us and fucking Proud Boys, and they did that whole cringe fucking Gamergate episode and like a bunch of other shit. It's like, bro, they have consultants. They don't even hide it. Yes. The Zero Dark 30 one's the one I always bring up. And then even more past that, Apocalypse Now, where the U.S. military wouldn't allow them to use authentic equipment because they wouldn't tell the correct narrative. Like, bro, this is
all of the superhero movies, all of them. I'm sorry if you like the superhero movies, but that's so much propaganda. Holy balls. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you're right. It's not just like TV shows or movies. It's magazine covers. It's the fact that every doctor's office you walk into, every airport you walk into, mainstream media is blasted. And your mainstream media, your journalism is owned by like Boeing and you know, Citigroup or whatever. Like, it's such a fucking hot mess. And that's why, I mean, people get mad because I spend so much time, which I don't understand.
How many times do we say that, Misty? People get mad.
Right. This fucking drives me. Like, people get mad at me for fucking focusing on free speech and like press. That's what I do. Do you get mad at Medea Benjamin for focusing on like anti-war stuff? Do you get mad at environmental activists for focusing on environmental issues? No, shut the fuck up. Like, of course I'm going to be most worried about that. But again, like, it affects everything else. Like, this shit affects everything else. Propaganda, information control, narrative management, all of that affects literally every other issue you care about. You can't fight against war if you don't have the ability to talk about it and to spread information and to get the truth out there.
Yeah, because like, there's gonna be an entire generation of people right now that are watching this event, because like, people got to understand, the normie class only tunes into news when shit is going down. So Afghanistan is going down. So they're probably turning on CNN or Fox or MSNBC for the first fucking times. And all they are going to see is the Taliban terrorists that attacked us on 9/11 are winning in Afghanistan, and it's Joe Biden's fault. And that's going to shape their reality forever. And when you get into arguments with people and you point out the historical detail that the Taliban have never attacked anything outside of fucking Afghanistan, they're going to call you a liar.
Yeah. And they'll completely leave out the fact that we've been destroying Afghanistan for 20 plus years, and that it's, again, complete manipulation of information.
Yeah. How many people never knew who John McCain was and then became political active and now have the modern version of John McCain in their head? Not our version, the truth, you know, but this modern fucking
he's a hero.
AOC simping. And again, AOC, that is the worst subject. The fact that anyone besides a fucking neocon, pretty much, on the political spectrum, whether you are communist, an anarchist, libertarian, a fucking Ron Paul conservative, I don't care, anyone on that spectrum maintained any respect for that woman after she said a lick of positive things about John McCain, proves that we're just in the upside down.
She called him an example of human decency. Bomb, 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 bomb. Really? That's the fucking example of human decency?
Brought anti-racist people brought slavery back to Africa.
Right.
There is literally there's no sin that is the Yemenis genocide is there, but Libya is the greatest fucking sin of the modern generation that we just don't talk about. Like, you could just get on a boat and go buy a fucking black person in Libya in 2020
and
2021.
Before our involvement, it was like the most prosperous. Oh, God damn it. And that's so obvious. Again, this is shit that's so obvious, but people get in their team mentality. And because it was Barack Obama, Democrats are willing to excuse it and don't want to talk about it. I'm surprised that the right doesn't attack it more. Honestly.
Nobody does, because it's the blackest fucking stain in the world. Because the right would have to address John McCain being part of it, and Mitch McConnell, and all the fucking people that are heads of the party.
Yeah, they're all in it together.
And Trump would have to address the Kushner family's fucking role in it. His little stepson, he'd have to address that. No one want to touch it. And I feel the same exact way about Breonna Taylor, and you probably feel the same way about Assange, where it's like, well, am I the only person still talking about this?
No.
Because it's like, we could talk, like everybody talks about Syria. Everybody's talking about Afghanistan. A decent amount of people bring up Iraq. You know, a small number of people will bring up Yemen. A very small amount of people will talk about like Somalia and shit like that. Who even mentions Libya anymore?
Nobody.
You
know,
not
really.
Nobody. No, even indie fucking media and shit. A lot of people just have forgot that happened. Forgot that like we still have American paid and funded contractors running.
I'm guilty of that too.
But I mean, it's whatever. But like, I'm glad then we can talk. I'm talking about it on your show right now. That's more than fucking everybody else. But we have CIA paid, trained private contractors in Libya extracting oil from that country while black people are being sold as slaves in the main big cities. That is going on right now across the other side of the country this very second.
Yeah.
How is there not riots in the fucking streets over that?
Because it's normalized. People, and because it's like the Vietnam thing, okay? Because after Vietnam, we stopped seeing like the consequences of war. Like, you know, in Vietnam, you got to see, like, they actually, like, we had embedded reporters who were showing, like, legitimately, you got to see, like, the, you know, coffins coming home, and like there was a whole, like, it was
like
they learned their lesson.
Yeah, it's like, this is war, and like not to try to diminish these evil actions or whatever like that, but there is no war that's ever been fought that's not going to be like this. It's not just an American thing. It's anything. This is war. Fucking rape and innocent people and awful fucking things happen in war because it's the most evil thing a human being can do to another person is warfare. And people have forgotten that like really, really bad. And they seem to think that like a Democrat war is different than a Republican war, or an American war is different than a Swedish war, or a Chinese war is different than like, it doesn't matter. That is war. Awful, horrible shit happened. And we have forgotten about that. And it's just, it's wild to me, especially on the slavery thing. Like it'd be different. It'd be different if this was 2000 and kind of the anti-racism action wasn't the dominant fucking like, you know, political kind of discussion going on right now. But that's what's happening, and we don't talk about Libya. Like the English fought a world war to end slavery. We fought a civil war to end slavery. There was violent revolts in Haiti over this, but Libya just.
Yeah, and again, it brings it back to the fact that it's weird to me that I'm like, people think I'm crazy because I think that we should be able to figure out a way to end war. Like, why? That's how we solve our problems. I mean, like, we teach our kids don't hit, don't bite, but then our world leaders blow each other's countries up for profit, and we just are okay with that. It's so fucking backwards. Why are we still doing that?
The easily the most legendary Ron Paul quote, because it's so true. We marched in there. We could turn around and march right back out.
Yeah,
that easy.
We don't have to blow people up. Like, we don't have to do that. Really? Why are we still accepting this? It's. I don't care. I don't care if you hate each other. I don't care if you like your religion's wrong or what. We don't need to blow each other up. The fact that we're still in this mindset that that's an acceptable response to differences or to what the fuck is wrong with us? It's 2021 and we're still doing this shit. Like, why?
And
we're blowing up babies for oil and that's okay. It's accepted. It's normalized. It's fine. We can't do better. It's gross.
And that's the same shit that's going on right now with the China hawking, which drives me up a fucking wall. It is my biggest criticism of the right at this moment. To where like this is even like even like the Cold War, because Cold War had the Iron Curtain and the fucking wall and everything like that. The Soviet Union and the United States were not like in open trade agreements. There wasn't Soviet companies in America and America companies in the USSR and shit like that. So it's like, what is going on here? Why are we war hawking with fucking China? Like
why are we war hawking with anybody? Jesus fucking Christ.
The CEOs of the companies that paid you a bunch of money to get elected go to China and negotiate fucking business deals with the CPP. Like, what do you mean? It's so wild to me. And even from like a strategy perspective, it's so stupid. Because like I'm going to be very careful and say this, not advocating to do this, but just if I wanted to like be ones and zeros, exclusive numbers, and that my goal was to destroy China or some stupid shit like these neocons want to do, could stop being an empire and then stop doing trade with them, and that would be way more destructive than trying to start a war with them. So it's like, I don't even believe their intentions that they want, like the China hawking shit is like a big front for just expanding, you know, all over the place, because we're essentially soft allies with their country. Like I said, like we have businesses all over there. We have like the CPP owns property in the United States. The United States government through front groups and shit owns property in fucking China. Like, what is this is like the US and Mexico going to war. Like, you know, it's like, it's dumb. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
No.
And it's just so they can excuse putting more military bases everywhere. So they could throw a military base in, you know, fucking Myanmar or something like that to counter the expansion of Chinese blah, blah, blah. But oh, whoops, there's some Myanmar rebels who, you know, we won't talk about the fact that they might be blowing up our convoys because we're stealing fucking resources out of their country, but it's because of China. And then, you know, fucking China will be like, this is a US imperial, like it's fucking 1984 shit. It's literally like fake wars and fake imperialism and fake fucking, it's stupid as I've said fuck so many times, but it's so dumb to me. I just can't.
Who cares? It is fucking stupid. It's a racket. War is a racket. War is a fucking racket.
Like he got dunked on so hard on Tim Pool.
I get to interview him tomorrow, by the way.
That's my boy. But yeah, he got dunked on so hard on Tim Pool because Tim tried to do the usual like China shit, and Scott's like, okay, so like he pretty much did the same thing. He's like, let's work this out through your thought process. Like China is a giant imperialist threat that we need to counter. He's like, okay. So how do we win by bleeding ourselves dry and fucking the entire world over and destroying our economy and spreading our troops everywhere and pissing everyone on the world off against us? And people dunked on him for that. I'm like, no, that seems like a salient fucking point to me, bro. Like, really? Like, oh, the way we defeat China is commit suicide. Like,
maybe we should just try to work with each other. Maybe
crazy
the world
concept,
right? Like, we should just try to. I mean, we're all on the same planet together, and we all have to kind of figure it out together. It's like it's the Carl Sagan's pale blue dot. Like, we're still fighting over the dumbest shit. We get this. And this is going to get a little philosophical or whatever, but
I love it.
And I'm an atheist, so this isn't like a religious thing. No, if you are, that's fine. But it's still, to me, I think it's fascinating and it's really cool that humanity has been given this opportunity. Like we get to experience this. Like it's you know, to our knowledge, we're so far the only like existence that is like that we have the opportunity to enjoy, and we're fucking it up. We are completely fucking it up. Like, again, we're still blowing shit up for profit in the year 2021. We don't have to do that. Like, we can actually get along. Like, I mean, I would like to think so. Again, one of the biggest, not again, because I haven't said that, but we elevate the worst among us to positions of power. First of all, if we're going to have positions of power, which is arguable, can we stop elevating psychopaths to those positions of power?
And there's no thinking of it at all. Cause I got into an argument with this fucking neocon on Twitter, and he's like, if we pull out of Afghanistan, China's going to move in. And I'm like, even if they're doing that, so you're saying, oh, they're going to do the same mistake the last 4 empires did and fucking fuck up in Afghanistan for 20 years. Wow. That sounds like their problem. Why do I have to give a shit? Why, you know, like it obviously it rings hollow because they can't even prove that's what's going on. They can't prove that China wants to be a giant empire or whatever. But even if you operate within their worldview, they're fucking stupid. You know, so it's like double just. And
listen, China may very well be like actively trying to become an empire or whatever. But I mean, okay, let's deal with that. But we can't expect to. We have no room to talk. I mean, it's like we said. We need to. If we want to discourage that behavior, then lead by fucking example. Like we claim to be so great, and like then lead by example. Stop blowing shit up for profit. Stop, you know, raping and pillaging your own people. Stop destroying your country. Like we're actively, the empire is falling. Like that's not hyperbolic. You're living within the death of the empire. That's what
it's the fall of Rome, but you have Wi-Fi.
Yes, which means that you get like a front row seat. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to witness every single moment of it because instant information. But yes, like it's and it's going to be bad. It's going to be really, but it doesn't. I think we're probably past being able to turn it around at this point, but it didn't have to be that way. Like it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. But humans just refuse to learn from history. We refuse. It's not like we don't know. It's not like history hasn't shown us that this is how empires fall and that this is what and we still just continue to do the same fucking bullshit over and over again.
I don't get how these two realities can conjoin with each other, because historically it's very rare that this happens, that you have a government that has such explicit and open contempt and neglect of its fucking population. But then you also have civil division, almost, I'd argue, worse than the Civil War. Because a lot of people, a lot of like average people, they do the whole line of like, oh, family, brother on one side, son on the other, kind of like stupid shit. A lot of people in the Civil War got drafted. They didn't give a fuck, like.
Yeah.
But now I feel like if that happened, you'd have tons of people that'd be happy to sign up to go fucking fight their neighbor who has the wrong political opinions. Like, we're more divided than ever in this country. And yet we have a government that doesn't give a fuck about us, doesn't give us anything, takes fuck tons away from us, and just runs around ruining the world.
Well, and that's all connected because the reason why it's worse now than it's ever been is because they've gotten much better at their propaganda game. They've really fine-tuned it and honed it down. And just look at the ways that they're able, again, they're using literally everything to divide us. They're using Afghanistan, the pullout of Afghanistan right now to divide us. January 6th, COVID, the eviction moratorium. There's like a whole division like between podcasters or whatever. Like they're very good at this. They know exactly what they're doing. And that's all interconnected. And that's what I'm saying. They would much rather facilitate a civil war because then again, they don't want a class war. And so they have to keep us divided and fighting amongst ourselves so that we don't pay attention. I've said this a million times. My enemy is not my neighbor. My enemy wears a $5,000 suit and sits in a boardroom. And, again, we have our like differences of opinion and a lot of them are very serious, but that doesn't like change the fact that we can't even begin to deal with any of that shit until,
right.
I mean,
and like who has the power over you? Like I did this post last night. I think the greatest accomplishment of the modern state was to convince people that the threat is a bunch of intangibles. Mm-hmm. And that also the only solution to that intangible is a separate intangible, and ignore everything in the real world that you can touch with your own fucking hands. That's why I love the phrase touch grass, because you have people all across this country that like, they don't know who their neighbor is. Mm-hmm. They don't know who their city council person is. They don't know like the name of the park in their town. They don't know like any of the laws or regulations around them or anything. But God, could they spit legal code of Portland of why the Chaz Chop was illegal or some shit? It's like intangible to you. That means nothing. If there was not a box in front of you telling you about that, you wouldn't know it was happening. Period.
Yeah.
But ignore everything around you. Ignore everything you can touch. Ignore the cops that are fucking up your neighborhoods. Ignore the money being stolen from you. Ignore the fact that you have fucking garbage healthcare. Ignore all the stuff that matters that you can watch, that you can experience. Like that. That's like the two categories I could divide it into. Is like, would you know about this if you didn't have a TV screen? No. Right. Then you probably shouldn't be worrying about it. Like you should probably, until you run out of problems around you, you should probably focus on the problems around you. And it even doesn't even like I saw that one post of somebody was like, I don't want to go to the March for Medicare for All. I think it was like in Seattle or something like that, or one of like the West Coast states, because of somebody who was speaking in Ohio. It's like,
y'all. Okay.
What?
This goes back to we can't work. Like, I can't talk to libertarians about ending war. I don't care. Like, and again, Medicare for All is like a legit compromise. We need to figure out, healthcare is going to be a thing. I am 100% on board for universal healthcare, but in our current system and all of the corruption, we need to be incredibly careful about what kind of bill eventually gets passed, which that's eventually, because we can't even get like people who ran on it to, even almost fight for it. But still, the fact that you can't work with somebody on an issue that you claim to fucking care about, because you disagree on some things, then you don't fucking care about that issue. Period. If you can't put your ego aside and just get in the trenches and fight for something that you care about, then you don't actually care about it. I'm so sick of this shit. I am legitimately sick of this shit. I want to end the wars. And so if that means that I have to have conversations with libertarians and go to protests with them and have conversations with them and figure out a way that we can actively work together to end the fucking wars, I'm willing to do that. And if you're not, that's on you, homie. Like,
right, and at least have like the bare minimum I ask is at least have what I consider the appropriate response to it. Oh, like you're a random like lefty on fucking Twitter and you see, oh my God, Misty's going to an anti-war march with a bunch of libertarians and that's bullshit. the correct response to that would be, we're going to go have an event 3 times as big of just lefties. And I'm going to organize it, and I'm going to get fucking everybody there, and I'm going to make sure Code Pink speaks at our thing and not their thing, and I'm going to shut the fucking thing down and show them how wrong there is.
Yeah.
At least do that.
I'll show up. Like, I don't even care if I hate you and you have an event for something that I care about, and I'm able to. I will fucking show up. Of course, I'll show up. Absolutely. Are you?
And again, like we talked the other day, and if I can't show up, I'll retweet it. I'll promote it.
Absolutely.
I'll make graphics for it. I'll fundraise for it. I'll do anything besides just piss and moan. And I had people jump my shit on the libertarian side of like, you keep telling people that they need to get out, they need to do things, or you don't respect their opinion on anything, and blah blah blah. And it's like some of us can't do that, bro. And I'm like, that's perfectly fine that you can't do that. But then don't tell me not to.
Right?
That's simple as. If you're doing it, then you can criticize me. If you're not doing it,
and really, no, you can't, because you don't get to gatekeep how I organize. Like, if you want to go out and do your own thing, that's 100% fine. Go for it. Go do that thing. But you don't get to dictate how I do my thing.
Right. And I really think like a part of it is these people are fucking embarrassed. Like when the giant shitstorm on Twitter happened, when a bunch of us and Jafari Jones went and had a Second Amendment protest in Richmond, Virginia, the right just pissed and shit the bed over it. Like, how could you march with these fucking Marxists and blah, 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 just screaming childish thing. And I really believe it's because they're not out there doing that. And they feel inferior all of a sudden and instead of like it's that's Simpsons meme of like, am I out of touch? No, it's the kids who are wrong. Like that's right. Like, am I doing fuck all? Literally nothing.
Yes.
Like, no, they're
so
doing
much of that.
They're doing wrong things, and actually, them doing that means that wrong things are happening. They're part of the problem. Instead of realizing, like, oh, you're getting shown up by an idiot in Michigan.
Right. On the fucking some chick in Ohio. Like, I'm just some chick in Ohio. And
right.
The
Great Lakes average as fuck squad is showing up. Is showing up podcasters and political figures and fucking elected officials and mega corporations that all vastly preach and scream and cry about these issues. But then where are they?
Right.
And I do think is like an inferiority thing, 100%, because
I think it's a little bit of that. And I think it's also not even like just I don't want to say self-loathing, because that seems like really dramatic, but the
emo days never ended.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, these are the people, again, like I said earlier, these are the people who like voted for Joe Biden. And I think a lot of these people, not like the paid ops, but I think a lot of these people recognize that that's, not, and so they get mad because I didn't, and because I had like the consistency. And again, I'm not perfect. I'm not always consistent. I fuck up like everybody does. But I mean, I don't do the team sports thing. I don't do the, and I think a lot of these people get angry that, and again, when you said you voted for Joe Biden, that means I'm to the left of you. Like, brains explode. I think because that's, I mean, you voted for a Captain Crime bill. You voted for a warmongering rapist. And then you're going to come out here and pretend to be morally superior to anybody,
right? And I will quadruple the fuck down about this. Okay, I went and got fucking arrested trying to prevent people's water from getting shut down in Detroit, while you fucking vigorously retweet shit about the pipeline protests and then attack people for talking to the wrong people about I got attacked for retweeting about the pipeline shit. Okay, I'm to the left of you. All right, we went out on the streets with BLM and got tear gassed and fucking arrested and everything, while you sat home and complained. I am to the left of you. You fucking will cry about imperialism and everything like that. I'm putting on a protest. You are doing nothing. I am to the fucking left of you on that. I have volunteered my personal self that if anyone in my area is getting fucking evicted and anyone wants to get together and surround that building and refuse to leave unless they drag us out by our fucking toenails and put us in jail, I will do that. While you are sitting on the Capitol steps complaining and fucking hanging out with AOC, I am to the left of you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it bothers them.
And that should embarrass you that I'm the one doing that.
Yeah. 100%. But I mean, but not really, because like, again, people have like this, completely made up version of you, which you know what I'm saying?
Total mental fucking
right. It's like, seriously, like there's a lot of like, I get a lot of shit and stuff like that, but like people just make shit up, and they do with me too, but it's really bad with you. It's really bad.
Someone I'll remember them. They wanted to mention up of see Magnus on a lot of podcasts or whatever, like nodding towards like certain privatization of things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, because like I'm an anarchist without adjective. So I want like I consider every step down to be like a good thing. So like my final goal wouldn't be the privatization of the police, but it'd probably be fucking better than what we got now. My goal wouldn't be like Medicare for all, but it'd probably be a better step than where we are now.
Right.
Like there's all these things where it's like, I'm just trying to claw any purchase on this fucking cliff that we're falling off the side of to just grab anything, it's like,
it's not even just that though. Like when I'm in, maybe this is just me, but when I talk to people, like, even if I don't agree with what somebody is saying necessarily, I may nod because like, I understand, like I get what I'm listening. I understand. No, but like, I understand, like, I get where you're like, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying, it's not maybe that I like agree, but it's like, okay, I hear where you're coming from. Like it's not, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a weird thing to get. Yes, I'm going to nod because like, it's more of like, okay, I understand, like, thank you for explaining your position. I get, that's a weird thing to be mad about.
And I'll probably even clip this just to send it to people so they can understand. My beliefs 100% are based off of a section from Voltairine de Cleyre on her book about anarchism, where she goes into the concept of avoiding becoming essentially colonialist in thinking when it comes to political philosophy. And the way she essentially described it is that we are a giant planet with hundreds of cultures, with millions of people spread across dozens of environments. One form of thing is not going to work everywhere. Exactly. It's also not going to work forever. It might work for a point and then not work anymore. It might work for some people, but not work for other people. So there's going to be variations. Like, maybe in like rural or Montana or something like that, like an anarcho-capitalist society would work spectacularly, and they'd have their private cops and all the land would be privately owned, and it'd work great there. But then you're going to try to export that to like Africa or something with a totally different culture, and you're going to go out to like these indigenous Black people and like try to introduce the concept of private property to them. They're going to be like, no, we're doing something different. And you might go to the Koreans and they might do something different. Like and
that's okay.
It's fine. And
it's fine. Like, I don't like, we think that we have to impose our belief system. Like the West is like, yeah, we're going to go to Afghanistan and we're going to turn them into us. They're not us.
They don't
that's
want
okay.
to be. Yeah,
no, and that's okay. Like they don't have to be us. That's okay.
And that's my biggest criticism of all of the fucking anarchists, and why like a lot of them like will jump my shit. The cool ones get me. Other ones like I don't know if you saw the shit show that happened when I was at Yale, when I got into debates about property rights with like 100 fucking right-wing people, and it was just a war. But it was just like the simple concept of, I don't think contract law is going to solve every fucking problem in the universe. And that's what anarcho-capitalists believe. And I also don't think that having a horizontal society is going to solve every fucking problem in the universe. And that's what the ANCOMs think. And I also don't think that you can take those two concepts that have flaws in amongst themselves and export them to the entire world.
Right?
Crazy concept.
Crazy, right? And that's what drives me nuts too. And this is again why I hate labels, because there is no one ideology that's got it 100% right. Like each of them has like some good, like and it's weird to me that we're willing to like pigeonhole ourselves into like, and another thing that I love is that a lot of these people seem to think that it's like we're in 1917 Russia, and that the world hasn't drastically changed since then, and that like things are going to be, it's a completely different ballgame.
Fucking talking about.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Poor Fee, dude. She just got absolutely like dog piled on that one fucking tweet about that.
And that was exactly just it's so like, y'all, we don't live in 1917. It's a completely different world. And yes, we should learn from history and we should take the lessons that we can, but it's not the same thing. We don't live in the same environment. It's a completely different ballgame. It's a completely different, like we're under a completely different set of laws and rules, and there's a completely different system. And we now have social media and 24-hour news, and like there's a whole other lot of variables.
There's different classes of society that have totally formed. Like the fucking the YouTuber, like Twitch streamer fucking shit, where you have kids playing video games. you have kids playing video games for millions of dollars. Like, let me grab like George Washington, Karl Marx, fucking like Thomas Paine, like just a bunch of people from history, and sit them in the room and be like, yeah, this guy, he makes more money and has more wealth than anyone in your fucking time period. And he sits down in front of this little box and plays video games.
Right.
Like, they didn't calculate for that. So we have to
we have to adapt. Like we have, like it's, and again, it's like, okay, yes, the Reed theory crowd. Listen, I love y'all. Listen, I do. Theory is important. I think that everybody should educate themselves as much as humanly possible. But you guys, like you can't, it's not like this rigid set that you should learn from that, but we have to adapt. Like things change.
I made that fucking meme, and it literally happened like today in real time of somebody was like, go read a book. And I'm like, and I created that meme where it has like all of the anarchists from like Bakunin, anarcho-communism, to like Emma Goldman and Voltaire, which is feminist anarchism, to like Murray Rothbard, which is anarcho-capitalism, Stirner, like fucking Proudhon, which is mutualism. I'm like, these books? And it's like, no, not those books. And it's like,
right? Yes, and that's like, again, it's like labels. Like all of this stuff means different things to different people. I'm just so sick of it. Like I really am just so
let it end, Misty. Just let it end.
Oh God, damn it! And it, like, again, everybody should read theory. I mean, if you want. I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine too.
Right.
You don't have to read theory to be a good person or to understand the world or.
Yeah, I get into arguments with like both the left and right on this. To like, we have a fundamental flaw in like Western culture right here, to where in the 1800s, the schools of political thought radically split. And you had the fucking liberals and the socialists. And at that point, language was not standardized. All these philosophers were Russian, Italian, German, whatever, being translated into English through like spaghetti fucking language that English is and everything like that. And they started using the same words with different meaning. If I say the word property, Proudhon meant something different than Karl Marx, then fucking Stirner, then like Ayn Rand. Like all of these people are using that same word, but if you actually ask them what they mean by that word, they'll give you different definitions. And instead of addressing this at any point in our culture or in our education or anything, we just let the split happen further and further and further. And now we're 220 years later, and we still haven't figured out that like when someone says like privilege, for example, that they could be using one of like 15 different definitions. But no, instead we argue over the definition.
Yeah.
And, God forbid you touch on capitalism, socialism,
oh my God,
Marxism, fucking.
Well, there's a Julian Assange quote where he says that all of your, this is not verbatim, I'm butchering it. But all of our arguments over ideology are completely bankrupt because we don't actually have the truth. Like we don't actually have the reality of what's happening. And like, no, because there are all these like weird differences and, we've been allowed to be divided and words have no meaning. And we all think different things about, it. And so we have like, we don't even operate on the same level of like truth. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's truth is different.
It's like a Chinese person arguing in Chinese to someone who's German arguing in German over the price of a fucking product that the government lied to you how much it costs.
Right.
It's like we're speaking different languages about something we don't have the truth on. It's like, holy fuck. It's so bad. And Kimber nailed it. Our girl Kimber, she had that post where it's like, she's like, we all act like we're so hardened in belief and prepared for these arguments, but then anytime we get into them, it just turns into a Google search result war because we're all so desperately unprepared for these debates.
Right.
And I'm like, is that not the fucking truth?
Yeah.
And those Google results are manipulated and algorithmized, and if I Google something the same way you Google something, we're gonna get different answers, different sources, and it's like 100% right. So you combine like Kimber's profound fucking statement, which she probably just like shit out of her brain, but so true, with like what Jillian just said. Like we're all unprepared for these arguments. We haven't done the research. We don't really care. So then we get into fights with each other and have to go to the people who are lying to us to get the facts and data to back up our fucking bankrupt worldview.
Yeah. And we wonder why we're so fucked up.
We're so fucked. Like,
you know what I mean?
Fucked.
Yeah. And I honestly, I don't even know how to combat it because it's so like we're so far gone that I don't know how like how do we fight back against this shit? Because you can't even get people to admit that they might be wrong or that they might have a manipulated worldview, or that and people are so married to their ideologies and to their team that you can't even begin to challenge. Like, you can't even challenge. These are elected officials, they're politicians, and if you challenge it like on a legitimate thing, like something that they, for example, just if the squad and not fighting for Medicare for all, like Pramila Jayapal right now, it's her fucking bill, and instead of fighting for Medicare for all, she's out there talking about expanding healthcare expansion, and there's no public option talk, even though they said that they were going to fight for that. But that's okay. Like,
what was
make
it, like
excuses for that.
Cobra or whatever that acronym is. That fucking
the AOC was like really hyping up on whatever Instagram, her Insta Live or whatever. And these are the people, really. But you're going to make excuses for that and call me an asshole for calling them out.
And like I fucking despise politicians, like 100%, to the point, and this is a real story, and people that were there can back me up. I said out loud, and I was going to commit to it, that if Ron Paul had a Q&A session at Yale when he spoke, I would have walked up and asked if he was disappointed in his son. Like, that is the level I am at right there. Like, that's the level of, like, Rand Paul and Thomas Massie are probably the closest, like, people that I think are even in the same ballpark as cool in Congress. I will tear them the fuck apart if they do one wrong thing that I disagree with. Don't care. I've been in Twitter group chats with Thomas Massie. I've had conversations with Thomas Massie. I think he's a really good guy. If he did anything I disagree with, you hold the bat, dude. You hold power over my life. You have veto voting decision over if I can go outside, what I can buy, how much things cost, what we're doing overseas. You have decisions over all of this. Yeah. So if you screw up, like, it's on. It's like imagine, like, try to treat every politician like
that's the way it should be.
Try to treat every politician like they're your doctor and you're awake and they're doing open heart surgery. You, like, if one of them like accidentally like cuts a vein open, you'd be like, oh, just hang on, he's trying his best.
Right? Give him time. He's new.
These people control your life. You should be fucking like borderline, like what would be the word for it? Borderline, like, insatiable. You should be almost
relentless. You should be relentless. Seriously, like, politicians should not go a single day without being criticized. Not a single day. And especially the ones that we have fucking now. Are you joking me?
They're so bad.
Are you fucking y'all, we are like 18 months, more than 18 months into what, and again, I don't give a fuck what you think about COVID. I don't care if you think it's a hoax or if it's a lab leak. I don't care. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we're 18 months into this thing that has caused like economic chaos and just like unbelievable suffering. And instead of helping the people, they're shoveling money to the top 1% at like record levels, the greatest transfer of wealth, and nobody, and you're just gonna be okay with that and still excuse them and, like, defend them on Twitter, like, oh, I can't believe that you're going after these women of color. And are you fucking joking me? This isn't a game.
I get that with the Whitmer shit all the time, because I've obviously, I think she's the wicked witch of the fucking West, and I hate that woman with a seething passion. But I'll have even like family members and stuff like defend her, and it's like, dude, the Michigan Unemployment Agency, I know people personally, and there's a lot of them outside of people I know that have not received their first unemployment check. The 18 months in have not received their first unemployment check. They got on food stamps really quick, but couldn't get their unemployment check.
Y'all, they haven't done a damn thing.
I know it's the same thing in Ohio too. I've got friends up there that they're having the same fight. They're having a fight to get the shit. It's ridiculous.
Like, how is that allowed? How are you not fucking dragged out of that building and screamed at for allowing something like that to happen?
They're not doing shit for you. Nobody, none of you. Like, I don't care who you are, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green. I don't give a fuck. None of these people have done a goddamn thing for you. Not one of them.
Because like I said, I try to keep equal opportunity hands. I get into it with the fucking Republicans over Greg Abbott and whatever, and like over the lockdowns and shit. And it's like, dude, he tried to shut down a barbershop that didn't apply for the PPE loan. This was a woman's only fucking career. So she said, fuck you, I'm going to open anyways. And he deployed armored vehicles on this woman, Bearcats and Texas state troopers with rifles and body armor on a tiny fucking blonde white woman trying to cut people's hair.
To survive.
To live, bro. And it's like, fuck you. Like all of you. Fuck almost every single governor. Almost every single governor, with obviously some exceptions of like smaller states who managed to handle it better or whatever. Like you could bring up Kristi Noem, or you could bring up like fucking Rhode Island or any of these left or right states that did a little bit better. But there's people like in New York, like when I bring up, like cops beating the shit out of black folks for having block parties because of COVID. How is that ever allowed? And why were those people doing that? Like why was it in Detroit that they were shutting down illegal businesses, like minority owned businesses in Detroit for conducting during COVID, and shutting down like underground dance clubs and shit like that? Yeah, people wanted to party a bit, but also these people don't have any money. They're fucking starving. They're not getting unemployment. Their small businesses didn't get the PPE loan. Fucking the food bank lines are around the goddamn place. Like, and obviously there's the jobs thing.
Yeah.
But then you're asking these people to go sign up for McDonald's for $14 an hour when they just owned a small business. That's what happened to me. I had a girl, I'll never forget this, my ex-girlfriend, like biggest Bernie Sanders fan in the fucking world, eat the rich shirt, everything, like left, like shit lib as humanly possible.
What an interesting couple.
I know, right? Weird about all that. But anyways, when my business shut down, I'm like, what do I do? Like, I was like, I'm going to go protest. Like, I like, they're not giving me any money. Like, give me money, because my business is fucked and I had to move out. I had lost my fucking house. I lost everything. I'm fucked now. Like, take care of me. And if you're not going to take care of me, then I'm going to show up in front of your building. Fuck your lockdown restrictions. Fuck saying I can't protest. And I'm going to scream at you because I'm starving. And she's like, go get a job at Walmart. Oh. Left wing. Go work for McDonald's. You're endangering people's lives. Go get money to a mega corporation because you're artist. Again, that's even more funny. Artist, self-employed, working in fucking working at like artist co-ops and shit like that, selling art, making like, comfortable upper lower caste wage. Fuck you. Go work at Walmart is what the left wing told me at the beginning of the lockdowns. Boy, good messaging. Great, great shit. And that happened to so many people. So many people got fucked and they refused to acknowledge them, to where you don't even have to go into COVID. You don't have to go anything. You don't have to debate on ending the lockdowns or whatever. If you're on the left and you're not banging these people's door down to get this shit out to people, because the rental assistance is a great other idea. Yes. There was like millions of dollars of rental assistance to go to people and landlords to bail them the fuck out of the situation, to bail people out of their mortgage and everything.
States are not handing it out.
Why are you in DC screaming at them? Like, why did anyone travel from, because people traveled for that. Some people did. Obviously, a lot of them were staffers, but some of the people that drove out there, why are you not at your local government building demanding the money that was already supposed to be given to you?
And why are they not fighting for rent cancellation and mortgage cancellation instead of extension on the eviction moratorium? Like, really? That we're gonna, again, like, you're gonna go in there with like complete lowball, like the bare fucking minimum. Like, it's unbelievable. And again, it doesn't matter what you think of COVID. It really does not matter. What matters is that every time something like this happens, they use it again. It's no different than after 9/11 and all of the rights and shit that were taken away from us then. They're doing it again now. And there's a huge upward transfer of wealth. They're taking away all your rights. They're taking away your ability to protest and fight back. You see the
fucking ankle monitors that they're putting on kids? Like, what the fuck? And again, like, I avoid, because obviously, like, I have a very strong, staunch anarchist stance on the lockdowns, but you notice I don't post about it that much, right? Because I can't even get to the lockdown or not lockdown thing, because I have to get past everything that they fucked up. Like, I can't even get to the part of like, should we lock down, blah, 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 any of that. I can't even have those debates with people, get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine, whatever. We can't have those conversations because there's still people that haven't got unemployment checks. There's still businesses that have been closed down for a year straight now that never got a PPE loan. And everybody will be like, oh, fuck the business owners. Like, some of these people are like floral shops run by like a sweet old lady. Fuck her. Really? That's your message for these people? I'm channeling Jimmy Dore here. That's your message for people?
No, but really, let's fuck over our neighbors. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't understand that thought process. Because maybe it's like crazy me, like crazy. And I'm not a communist. I don't like labels, but I'm probably more anarchist than anything. But, it's fucking crazy to me that we don't think that we should just take care of people and, make sure that instead of, giving money to the top 1% again, like they cannot, it's like bulldozing money to the top 1% while everybody else gets fucked over. And everybody just makes excuses for that and thinks that that's
right. Like the circular logic of like, I was getting the debates with people at the beginning of fucking lockdowns. I'm like, why is it that I'll remember vividly? There was this place called Bitten Apple in Detroit, and it was just like a small local grocery store that sold food, and like it was like a really small business or whatever. They got shut down, but Walmart got to stay open. And I'd ask people, so why do they have to shut down, but Walmart has to stay open? And they'll be like, oh, well, we need to slow the spread.
Right.
And I'm like, and it's shit like that where it's like we nuked. The statistic I think is 53% of Black-owned businesses in Detroit are gone.
Mm-hmm. And that's
COVID.
Across the board. The same things happen in Columbus. So in the short north in Columbus, like a really cool little part of Columbus, they're like Black-owned businesses, small businesses were like, it was really, really starting to pick up, right? COVID wiped that the fuck out, dude. Wiped it the fuck out. I mean,
and none of those people got help. And if those people asked for help, they got fucking dogpiled by their friends on the left.
Yes.
Again, I'm just gonna continue putting up the air quotes for that because I do not consider these people the left wing. They're not.
I don't either, but
they're not the left wing I grew up with. They're not the fucking hippie, compassionate fucking people that want to save the world
and the war, anti-imperialism, anti-racist. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not at all. Like really the environmental movement, even that, I mean, that's the fucking sunrise movement, everything's going on that. But that is like the last vestige of the left for me, because you have people going out and like, they don't care that, like, if it was any other issue, they'd be like, well, Joe Biden's polluting the water, and they'd stay home. But at least people are still getting buzzed by helicopters and shit up at the pipeline protests. At least the environmental activists still give a fuck. But like, dang. And obviously the liberals and the normies and the Dem socks have their thing, but it's even weirder to me when you have like the accelerationists that are like, it's actually good that BlackRock will buy everything, and all these like black small businesses are going out, and all these small businesses are going out, and the corporations are accelerating because it'll lead to it'll increase the collapse of capitalism. And I'm like,
yeah. And listen, I kind of get that, because it's like ripping off a Band-Aid, but at the same time, a lot of people are going to get hurt. And I think that's unavoidable at this point, which, like, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but that's just reality. I mean, it's not like we don't have historical reference for this. Every time an empire fails, and this is like it's the United States. Like this is like the biggest empire that's ever existed. It's going to be unbelievably bad. Like it's already bad. Like, I mean, just look around you. It's already fucking bad. And it's just getting worse. Like, we're overextending ourselves militarily even more. Like, and we know that's how empires fall. Like, we know, and we're just repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Yeah,
which is what's so incredibly infuriating.
The people in power are 100% aware of it. That's why like I myself am very anti-accelerationist, because the people in power are accelerationists.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because they're literally trying to steal the silverware out of the Titanic while it fucking goes down.
Yes.
Like, that is their plan.
Thank you for saying that, because I get called an accelerationist, and I'm like, no, homies, I'm reacting to accelerationism. Like, I'm not the accelerationist. The people in power are the ones that have I mean, if you just look at even just the attacks on free speech, just because that's my thing. I mean, it's all for decades, press freedom and free speech have been under attack because powerful people don't like their secrets exposed. But over the past 10 or 15 years, Jesus fucking Christ, it has been elevated to a whole nother level. Obama went fucking nuts and then handed it over to Trump. And I mean, it's now look what we are seeing. I mean, at protests, I mean,
now you have people attacking journalists as individuals,
Yeah. Like, hey, Sky's in the chat. I just saw Sky in the chat.
Oh, hi, Sky. You're my favorite.
I love Sky.
She's the best.
Yeah, she is.
She dunks on fucking everybody. And it's all a scam. And they're just trying to just pilfer as much resources and everything, and then bail. Cause people kind of it's sold as an environmentalist gotcha, but they're not getting the right context. You're like, if the planet's fucking burning, then why are all these rich people buying beachfront property outside of America? And it's like, no. The reason why they're buying beachfront property outside of America is because they're getting ready to get off this fucking sinking ship after they've stolen all the resources they can and move on to the next country and colonize next country and bounce whatever. Like, the Dutch Indies company never went under. It just fucking moved to America. You know,
right?
Like,
no, and it's the global elite have no country. Like they don't. It's not like it's they're it's like they're all just a group of their own entity. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't care if the United States fails. They don't care. It doesn't affect them in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
And that's why I describe them as post-partisan, because we view the political elite almost as political. I do not view them political. I view them as parasitic, because this group of people do not give a fuck what's going on. They will find a way to ensure they're at the top of it and that makes them money. It doesn't matter if it's a communist country, a capitalist country, a fucking Western country, doesn't matter. They will find a new way to nest in wherever the fuck they have to and call themselves whatever they have to and tell you whatever platitudes. I'm for social democracy and I believe in anti-racism and blah, blah. They'll tell you whatever they have to fucking hear. You know, they did the same thing with the Patriot shit during Bush of like, yeah, big, strong American values and everything. They'll say whatever they have to say, and they'll occupy any country and take over that system and fucking ruin it because they have all this power. Decades, generational, old families, old money and everything. They'll fuck the world up. So if you don't fight them and deal with them, it doesn't matter. And that's why I'm giantly a lot of libertarians are like, oh, just get rid of the Federal Reserve and then the elites will go away. No. And then a lot of people are like, we'll have a Marxist revolution and the elites will go away. No, these people are good. You got to deal with these people. Yes. Period. You have to deal with these fucking people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that, and that's, honestly, I'm so grateful that I found the people. I'm gonna get you're Nicole, but I'm so grateful that I found the Assange community, because that's where I learned this from. That you have to be post-partisan. It has to be, do you want to get shit done? Do you actually care about, the thing that you are fighting for? Do you want to get it or not? Because you're going to have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone and have uncomfortable conversations with people you don't fucking agree with.
Yeah, because your enemies happily will. They'll work with terrorists, pedophiles, fucking murderers, warlords. They'll work with anybody to do what they want, but you can't work with your fucking neighbor,
right? Who you have, you actually agree on some stuff, and maybe you do have legitimate fundamental disagreements on some really critical issues. I'm not denying that. That's absolutely for sure. But
yeah, some people are unsavable.
Yes.
Your psychotically fucking racist next door neighbor. I'm not telling you to deal with him. Okay.
No.
There are unsavable people.
Thank you. Because so many people, when I say that I'm willing to have conversations with people I don't agree with, that immediately means that, you want to work with Nazis. No, again, a whole lot of space in between Bernie Sanders and Nazis.
Right.
There's a whole lot of space.
I don't want to deviate to an entire other thing, but because I'm a mutualist, the way that I acknowledge, I do not acknowledge government property. So if a government works with or is heavily invested in a private company, I don't consider it a private company anymore. I consider it a department of the government. And people are like, where do you draw they immediately jump to the extreme. They're like, oh, so someone who gets a loan from the federal government to open their fucking hot dog stand, they're no longer a private. Shut up. Stop. You're being so fucking absurd. And again, there's so many
infantile.
There's so many shades between I got a fucking first business loan through the federal government and DARPA and Google working together to build drones to fucking spy on you. That's what
drives me nuts about, and you probably deal with this a lot within the libertarian community, but Facebook and Twitter, they're private companies. No, they're fucking not. Oh my God, I am so tired. I am so tired of dealing with the social media private company bullshit. They are not fucking private companies. They are directly intertwined with our government. They own and operate our government. Their lobbyists spend bazillions of dollars every single year buying politicians and are you joking me? Facebook is not a private company. I get that maybe technically, legally, that they are a private company, but we need to smash that rhetoric right now, because that's not the fucking case. That is not the case. They are your government. And the fact that they're able to decide who gets free speech and who doesn't should be terrifying to everybody.
Yeah, it's where it's people always ask, where do you draw the line? And it's bro, the line's pretty fucking clear here. The billionaire companies that are working to fuck me, that's the line. I do not acknowledge their property at all. I do not view it as legitimate. I don't care. I'll walk right on Facebook and say, this is mine because I paid for it. Period. I don't care. Same with Google. Same with fucking Palantir. Same with all of these mega corporations. Same with Walmart. like people, I post so many shoplifting from Walmart memes, and some people on the right get real ass mad about it. I'm like, you pay for that shit.
Hey y'all, listen, if you see somebody shoplifting, no, you didn't.
Right.
No, you didn't. You did not see that.
And that's the thing is like, if like fucking, you know, it's Emmanuel's little corner store or whatever, there's a difference between that.
Yeah, don't do that.
And somebody stealing from fucking Walmart because we give them money, we give them tax breaks, we give them loans, we give them benefits, we give their employee welfare so they can afford to work at fucking Walmart.
Yeah.
I own you. That is my property. Okay. So thus I don't acknowledge what the fucking same with Amazon. Somebody's like, if you spend any money on Amazon, you don't have a right to fucking say anything. It's like, no, I'll steal shit from Amazon because it's mine. Fuck you. Fuck you. And again, people call me a right winger, and I'm literally telling you to steal from corporations and don't respect their property. Like, fuck you. It's so insane. And thank God there's like a civil war in the LP over the vaccine shit, where it's like it literally is the private property versus not private property argument, to where you have like the quote unquote, as my friends would call them, the blue pilled libertarians that are like, well, if a business mandates vaccines, well, it's their private property and they can do whatever they want. And thank Christ that there's like the new wing of the LP that's just like, fuck that. And those people, again, for people that don't want to talk to anybody, my little ass can run around their convention and talk about egoism and mutualism and tell them to read like Bakunin and shit. And they're super receptive to it. So I'm teaching lefty ideals to these people, and they're receptive of it, to the point where I think like Josh Smith, he's a big person in the LP, was like tweeting out like quotes from fucking Proudhon, who's a self-described socialist. Like, and he learned about Proudhon from me. So like you have a major figure in the Libertarian Party tweeting socialist propaganda. And you told me not to talk to that dude?
Right? I mean, that's when people get mad at like Glenn Greenwald or Jimmy Dore for going on Tucker Carlson. I can't even begin. Like, I can't think of anything more self-sabotage. Dude has millions of viewers every single night. And you're trying to tell me that we shouldn't exploit that to push our ideas?
Right. Because people criticize me for, I keep nagging Tim Pool to get on his show because he's had all my friends on at this point. It's like, you said you want like more, you know, like critical voices of like right-wing stuff and blah, blah, blah and everything. Come on, Tim, I'm right here. I'll argue about why rent is theft and a bunch of other shit. Like, let's go. And he won't bring me on. But like, it's like, yeah, because if I go on there, I can bring up a lot of things of like, obviously he's very much against the rent moratorium. I can bring up things about that. He's very on the China shit. I can bring up things about that. And his audience is going to hear that for the first time. And people might Google shit. And people might find things out.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Where's the downside in that? I don't understand the downside. I don't understand. I mean, like
Tucker Carlson's gonna suck the fucking leftism out of you, Missy.
Right?
Literally, your presence is like a leech. You just all of a sudden just like want to put an American flag up behind you and fucking watch NASCAR every goddamn moment. It's so stupid.
It is so stupid. And I think the big thing with that is I think that there are a lot of people who are insecure with their own views. I'm not. Like, I know what I believe in. I'm open to examining the things that I believe in. I'm open to being challenged, but I know like who I am as a person. So I'm not worried about going on Tucker Carlson and him like being able to manipulate my mind and make me think like now I believe in right-wing things. Like people say, oh, well, you're going to talk to Magnus and he's going to turn you into a right-winger. First of all, Magnus isn't a right-winger, but second of all, I'm not a right-winger. So you can't like, good luck, dude. Good luck like turning me into something I'm not. That's not a thing that's going to happen.
People are so critical. Like, oh, you went on Alex Jones. You let him like shill his grift about how he's like not on either team and whatever. They didn't watch that show because half that show was me arguing with Alex and like kind of cornering him and getting him to fucking agree with shit. Like, right? like I said, I brought up like, hey, Alex, you did a whole documentary about police pretending to be protesters and starting riots. Do you think they just stopped? And he was like, he kind of like, you know, took it back for a second. And all of his fans watched that. And all of his fans are going to now have that in their brain forever, you know? And a lot of them, obviously, it's not going to click because they're Alex Jones fans. Is what it is, you know?
But you like, even if you can get like a let's say Tucker Carlson has 3 million viewers a night. If you can get like 3,000 of those people thinking about something, then they're going to it's like a ripple effect. You know what I'm saying? Then they'll start talking to their friends, and their friends will start to not take advantage and exploit. Like, I don't like Tucker Carlson. I think he's a paid propagandist. He's on Fox News, of course. He's an absolute douche canoe. But I can still like exploit him for his platform.
Right. And there's just angles of information. Like I didn't know about people getting kicked out of their apartments before the moratorium was up, unless I was around left-wing people and I was talking to them and I was going on their shows and everything. I learned that was happening. So now that's a piece of information that none of the right-wingers are talking about. And then if I didn't like listen to people on the right, I would have never known that they already sent a fuck ton of money to bail people out of their rent that the state governments are not releasing, that these Democrats are not giving out to people. And no one on the left's talking about that. I would have never even had that little nugget of information, you know? So like, even if you just want to look at it as like intelligence gathering, you know, like
real talk,
you should at least do that, bro.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I follow like people will follow police all the time. Like, oh my god, I can't believe you're following that person. Well, okay, I don't have to agree with them to follow them. Like, I like to have other perspectives. I like to see what other people are thinking and talking about. And you know, I just like to know. Like, I'm a like big nerdy researcher. Like, if I'm focused, like I have to know everything about it. So, I mean, I like different perspectives. I don't, and if you don't, that's okay. Like, that's fine. Like, you can go sit in your bubble. That's cool. But stop shitting on me. Yeah, like just eat a bag of Richards and leave me alone. Like, it's so dumb. And again, it's the same thing for if you are incapable of having conversations with people you don't agree with, then fine, don't do it. That's great. Like, I'm not asking you to do anything that you don't want to do, but don't shit on me for doing what I am capable of doing. Like it drives me nuts, especially on the left. When people get mad at me for being willing to talk to people on the right. Oh, you're willing to work with racists. No, it's my like duty or whatever, but as I have the privilege to be able to enter white spaces and have conversations with people that could make a significant impact on the way people think in terms of race. And like, that's, to me, it seems like that's the very least I could do, is to have those conversations. Especially, like, there will be a lot of leftists who will disown family members. And I'm like, no, you need to have conversations with those people. You need to explain to them why racism is, it's just so mind-boggling to me that they can just brush their hands and like, it's not their problem. It is your problem.
It's definitely going to be eventually. That's the other thing these people don't realize. They're fucking themselves in the future, because it's just so like, it's so ridiculous, and it's so self-sabotaging, and it just never like makes fucking sense to me at all. And you have people that they just again, like the intangibles, they're willing to fuck over everyone around them so they can be accepted by some fucking weird niche Twitter community of faceless people that they're never going to meet in their life to get their approval.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I'm so glad that you fucking, like, you know, that one person, I'm so glad you snitched out your parents to the fucking FBI so you could get Twitter clout. That's great.
Right.
Good job.
Oh, what a pathetic existence. Okay, but it is 9:00. I just realized that. Like, this has been so I know this has been so much fun though. Like, I don't think there's been like a quiet moment, which is always nice. But I do always try to get sleepy out of here by 9 because
I was literally, I had a thought like 5 minutes ago. I'm like, poor Josh, he's just sitting here listening to this bitch
Sorry.
for 2 hours straight.
I'm multitask, y'all.
Sleepy's the best, seriously. So okay, but tell everybody about the protests before I wrap up. Let everybody know like what's going on, how they can help, how they can spread the word.
Yeah, so it's End the Damn Wars on Twitter. It's endthedamnwars.org. We finally got like a hard location in DC. It's John Marshall Park, which is right on Capitol grounds. It's really close. It's great. We just announced Danny Surgeon from Skeptical Vet. He's going to be speaking. Scott Horton's going to be speaking. Spike Cohen, Garland Nixon, like all these people are going to be speaking. We're going to have probably a bunch of surprise guests because there's a bunch of people that want to speak, but they don't want to announce that they're being speak because their shitlib fucking audience will cancel them. But they'll be there, so that'll be cool. And then the Florida Green Party is now working with the Florida LP, which is huge. The Arizona Green Party is co-organizing with the Arizona LP, which is huge. I've talked to Virginia Green Party. I've talked to the Michigan Green Party. We're trying to build a bunch of things like that. I'm still screaming at the People's Party. Anyone from the People's Party to step up. You're 100% welcome. A lot of like people.
They've shown up to our Assange protests.
Right, my friends know you. Everyone tells me that you are good people. You're more than welcome. Fucking get the people. This will end up getting on the news one way or another. You'll at least see, like, people will see the People's Party banner. At least do that. You know, step on my fucking shoulders. I don't care. Show up, represent yourself, please. And then, other than that, I got to call fucking Concerned Veterans for America. They might be there. So it's just a bunch of cool things going on, despite me wanting to die, because it's me and like 4 other ish people like all trying to make this happen. And we've had this much success, which that's the other side of bitching at everyone that doesn't do anything. The people that don't think they can do anything, like
you can.
Like I had so many people in the LP of like, how do you have like a board member of the ACLU speaking at your event? And I'm like, I don't know. I asked him, and he said, yeah. Like
seriously, you can. Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it.
Yeah, and contact people you might not think of. Like if there's an event that you want to put on or something like that. Like if you're in the Green Party and you're having a police brutality protest, and like ask me like, who should we invite? Invite the fucking like the local Libertarian Party. Invite like other people if you're or on the other side of it, or like if there's a rent strike, like invite people you wouldn't think of. See if they want to participate. See if they want to come out. Like build these coalitions. This is what this event is about. It's the DC event. Some people have gotten twisted. It doesn't even matter if we have 1 million people surround the fucking White House and screaming "End the damn wars." The military-industrial complex isn't just going to go, "Oop, whoop, fuck. We'll stop, guys. Sorry." It doesn't matter if you have 1 million people out there. What's important to me is get all of these groups in the same place and talking together and focusing on things and show other people that it is possible, so they can do it where they're at. They can do it where they're at, because I didn't even coerce the Arizona Green Party at all. The local libertarians did that. And then just because they did that, I went to other people and they're like, wait, those groups can work together? And I'm like, yeah, it's working together. And they're like, shit, I'm going to contact my local group. And then the Florida people called the Florida Green Party. And they're like, shit, we'll show up. So it's like the whole, idea of, I know with some of your guys' events, you're like, there probably was a moment of like, I don't think Rose McGowan would ever like show up to this. And then somebody like just asked her and she was like, sure. The
Assange, that's exactly what the Assange movement has been doing this whole time. Like our whole goal has been, like when we had our Columbus event, there was somebody from the Libertarian Party, there was somebody from Movement for a People's Party, there was somebody from the Green Party. It's across. That's the way it should be.
Yeah. So just reach out, ask. The worst you're going to be told is no.
Yeah.
But
or ignored.
Or ignored.
Might get ignored. Yeah.
That's honestly better than being told no in some cases, but
yeah.
But yeah, so we're super excited about that. That's coming up in September 11th. So like 3 weeks away. That's huge. So I hope to see tons of people there. I hope we can make it a big thing. And I hope that like, next time that, like fucking, I mean, this already happened, but I'll just use the example. Like if you guys are doing an event in Ohio, you could be like, oh, well, hey, I met Spike in DC. I got Spike Cohen's phone number. Let's call Spike Cohen and see if Spike Cohen can raise awareness around this thing. And then Spike, like build these connections, these networks, because we need this network. The network is so important. They can kill us in our little bubbles really easily. But if we all are holding hands across all of this and we all have each other's contact information and we'll show up to each other's events and everything, they cannot stop us. So that is my biggest wish, and I hope that it doesn't all go to fuck. I hope it works out great. I'm so nervous, but
I get it, man. I get it. Every time we hold an event, I'm like, God, this is like it's a lot, because it's a lot of work and you put so much like of yourself into it, and then you just want it to go well. And it's a lot. Like it's a lot. Yeah. So, but I'm super pumped about it. Everybody definitely check it out. I think, I don't know, Sleepy probably put the link in the description of the fundraiser. So definitely go and fundraise for, or donate to that if you can. If you can't, sharing it is super, super helpful.
Yes. Just get in here. Just send it to people you follow. Yes. Comment it below posts, share posts below things, go into YouTube comments of like if there's a video of, fucking
an Afghanistan video.
Yeah, like underneath like a random, GoPro footage of like Afghanistan or something, post End the Damn Wars. Little things like that, huge. So
that is huge. Seriously, I don't think people understand how huge it is. It really is very helpful. So the only thing that I have before we wrap up is next week Sharif Snuggs is going to be on, and I adore him so much. He's a national organizer for March for Medicare for All. He's a badass. Like he gets it. So I'm super excited to have him on. Definitely check out the fundraiser for End the Damn Wars. Action for Assange also has a fundraiser, because we're having like joint events, because these things are definitely connected. And then what else do I have? What?
No, somebody just popped up on the screen.
I was trying to show comments.
Oh,
I'm just being stupid.
Oh, whatever. Whatever. Yeah, anyway, so definitely fundraise if you can. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have that's like big deal-ish. I don't think so. The only other thing is just, as always, if you can go
I forgot one thing. I forgot on Nico's channel on the MSN, whatever the acronym is,
MC.
network. Yeah, I always I'm so bad with acronyms.
I get it.
But this Saturday, I'm doing a 12-hour live stream, and I'm going to have like people from Fred Hampton Leftist on. I'm going to have like Sky's fucking coming on. Like it's literally just going to be this giant, long live stream where I'm going to rotate guests, and I'm just going to get. It's going to be a preview of what I want the event to be. Of like, you communist person, why do you hate war? You libertarian, why do you hate war? You conservative, why do you hate war? And it's going to be great. And I'm probably by the end of it going to want to fucking die because it's 12 hours. But
that is a long time. Yeah, but that's going to be cool. Yeah, that's going to be cool too. You need to let me know what time I have to be there.
Okay. So, yeah. Misty, yeah. It's just you know, what, 5 more of this whole show we just did on top of this show we did. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I'll be hammered by the end, but
yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Oh, and just so everybody knows, as always, go to Sleepy Josh's Twitter page. Actually, I can put it in the comments too. Buy him a coffee because I can't do the show without him. He's amazing.
I think I'm pointing in the right direction. I hope I'm pointing in the right direction.
I don't know. Whatever. Just go to that link I just put in the chat, or you can go to Sleepy Josh's Twitter page. It's at abortu, ABORTU, and it's the link in his bio for buy me a coffee. And that's it. I think I just have Sharif Snuggs next week. You can check out Facts on the Ground. We just had Rachel Blevins on. We were interviewing Scott Horton tomorrow, so that'll be coming up soon. Oh, and we're gonna have Gordon Dimick on too. So yeah, got some cool stuff coming up. There's like a shit ton of new content. Like I went crazy on a booking spree, so there's a bunch of stuff you can go check out. And I think that's all I have. So yeah, we'll just see you next week. Thanks everybody for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks Magnus for coming on. Go check out In the Damn Wars. Peace.